SUNYRiver.com.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios. Subscribe and download to the all-new Character Concerns podcast with new episodes every Tuesday leading up to the NFL Draft in KC. Find it on the Odyssey app, 610sports.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
Welcome to Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio. On today's show, the brackets are out and the Hawks got shafted. The Bears get a massive haul for the number one pick, and we're an hour away from the start of free agency in the NFL. Now, two guys whose brackets are already busted. Cody Tapp and Alex Gold.
Nick strikes me as bracket guy that's going to constantly tell us throughout the entire week who's in his bracket and how much further in his bracket in the weekend he has his team.
Old Dominion.
I'm pretty sure that's
Watch
Nick.
out.
Yeah.
That's your squad? Because they're undefeated in Summit League? Or no, that was...
No, they're not Summit League.
Sorry, I was thinking of a different one. I didn't have the right squad. I don't care who you pick. I haven't filled out a bracket yet. Should I have done that by now?
I have not.
I have not either.
Well, I guess we better get on it.
I'm going to be honest. I
How we
haven't even looked at a bracket.
I haven't done the deep
I
dive.
don't even know who made it.
Haven't even done the deep dive, though, and mapped it all the way out to the Final Four.
If you haven't filled one out, of course you haven't looked it out to the Final Four. What are you talking about, like filling it out in your head a little bit?
Yeah, like I haven't, like if you were to ask me, like, who's in your Elite Eight? I don't have an answer for you yet.
Yeah, you can't just fill it out right away. You got to take a few days, usually 48 hours for me. Just stare at it.
Gut
just
reaction last night? Nah.
No, you just stare at an empty bracket for about 2 days, and you let the bracket fill itself out.
Speak to you.
Let it speak to you.
Uh-huh.
What's it saying?
I am holding I have decided to make something, a new rule for myself here at the station, which is I will no longer be participating in any group gambling ventures at this station.
Oh. Money
After the disaster
money
that
tight
was,
right now for you?
after the disaster, and I'll gamble with you two, and we can certainly make some bets Thursday and Friday. But after the disaster that was the player draft for the postseason, no more group efforts.
Did we do one last year? I don't even remember doing one last year.
We did. Gold won it, and still has yet to be paid by several members.
One member. I'm owed about $10 from one particular host of this station.
Is it a morning show host?
It may be.
Does it rhyme with Rob Besco?
It could. So yeah, but in fairness, we're even now because I didn't pay him for his playoff touchdown.
But that one was more money.
We're even.
How are you even? Is that
We're
the VIG?
We're even.
Is that the juice on the year?
It's a year interest.
That's a good point, actually.
So where we're at on
Hadn't
that.
thought about that.
Yeah.
What if? Hey, here's an idea. I'm just spitballing here, guys. What if every member of every show got together in the studio, live on the air, and filled out a bracket together? We went through game by game. And we
Every game?
Yeah, we all have to come to it. We all have to
2
come to a
hours.
consensus agreement on who wins each game. It'd be great content for the station, man.
Do you know how
We
long
should
that
do
would take? Openly debating some 6-11 matchup.
I don't think we could get it done in a 4-hour block.
Just do it in the entire 3 o'clock hour of the drive today.
There we go. You
And
guys want to stay late?
So let's do. For that, I will. For that, I will, man. For that,
I'm busy.
absolutely will. Oh, you're a little busy?
I'll call in. Just let me know when you want me to chime in, I guess.
Nick did mention it, though. We're less than an hour away from the legal tampering period in the NFL opening up, so we will certainly key in on that throughout.
One of my favorite
the
periods.
shows. It is going to be pretty wild, I think, right off the bat, around 11 o'clock or so, and then official free agency starts starts Wednesday, excuse me. But we know this entire week, whether it's Chiefs related entirely or contenders in the AFC, there's going to be plenty of movement in the next hour or so. We'll touch on, in particular, one thing the Chiefs could do right around 11 o'clock or so, or at least this week based on what happens at 11 o'clock. But let's start with the NCAA tournament, because all 3 local schools are in the dance, man. That's what makes it fun. This is the best seeds any of the 3 local schools in one given year have been. We've never had it where when you go through and you take a look at KU, MU, and K-State and how low of seeds they are. Missouri's a 7, K-State, of course, a 3, Kansas a 1. And so I think it's really cool that all 3 local schools are there. The problem is none of the local schools are going to have a chance to play in Kansas City, which kind of sucks, right?
That does suck.
That was one thing that seemed the way the weekend went, and certainly with Houston's loss in their conference tournament game and championship game, sure felt like, oh, well, if Kansas could take care of business in the Sweet 16 or in the first 2 rounds, they'd be playing in Kansas City. That, of course, was not the case. They're the 1 seed. They're going to play out west. They would end up going to Las Vegas if they made it to the Sweet 16. They're going to take on Howard Thursday. K-State's going to take on Montana State Friday, and then Missouri's going to take on Utah State on Thursday. I don't think even the selection committee was well aware of how their answer to the question, why did Houston get the number 1 overall seed and therefore the Midwest region over Kansas, like, how did they come to that conclusion? Because honestly, it doesn't make any sense, Cody. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever why Kansas ended up out west and Houston got the Midwest region. This was the answer, by the way, Chris Reynolds of the selection committee gave CBS yesterday during the selection show.
Well, when you look at Houston, combined 15-2 in the quad 1 and 2, compared to Kansas 21-7 in the quad 1 and 2. And Houston, they were competitive in all their games that they lost, except for today. And we understand today they were out their best player. And so for that reason, we kept Houston at number 2.
Just making stuff up on the fly, Cody.
Is that not something they've discussed publicly before?
Just making stuff up on the fly. Now we're weighing how competitive you were in losses. That's the thing. Acknowledging that the KU had basically lapped the field in quad 1 wins, had won the best conference in the country. Like, that's just a universal thought. That's not something unique to KU fan or Big 12 fan. That's a universally known best conference in America, Big 12. And you won the best conference in the country. And you didn't get axed in the quarterfinals of the Big 12 tournament. You made it to the Big 12 title game. Yeah, they did not look good at all against Texas. It's 2 weeks in a row.
For the second straight time, they got blown out by Texas.
But that was against Texas, who's a top 3 seed in the NCAA tournament.
And got blown out by TCU earlier in the year.
TCU, who's also a tournament team.
Okay, here's the problem. This is
Houston,
real boy cried wolf, unfortunately, for
it's
Kansas.
Not, Cody. Houston lost it. If you're going to play this game,
every year Kansas fans say that they got robbed.
If you're going to play this game and start citing me TCU losses and it's a tournament team, do you know who Houston lost at home to? Do you know?
Some 14-14 squad.
How about the Temple freaking Owls? Where are they at? Are they even in the CBI this year? I don't think so. So don't cite me Big 12 losses this year to tournament teams.
They got 4 more losses than Houston does.
In the best conference in the country. Houston's leaving that crappy conference to go to which conference, Cody?
Big 12.
The best conference in the country when it comes to college basketball.
I'm not arguing the fact that the Big 12 is the best conference.
But then why is that not factored in whatsoever in this?
Well, they clearly didn't care about that.
Yeah.
You know how I know they didn't care about that? Because they left Oklahoma State out, and other teams were probably underseeded by a little bit in this regard. But, I mean, again, you have to
schedule easy, though. Might as well schedule easy. KU should have an easy non-conference schedule. They should just do that, Nick, based on the comments that I heard.
This is Kansas. I'm going to take my ball and go home stuff ever. You know what? We won't even play tough teams. We'll go play
Cody,
some little school.
It doesn't matter. The committee just told me it doesn't matter, man. They should play UMKC your UMKC Roos 5 times a year, I guess. Houston,
I don't think 5 times
100 strength of schedule.
Oh, so they have played
100
UMKC in the
strength
last
of schedule. Years. Not this year. 100 strength of schedule. Houston does. So we can't act like it matters because the committee just told us it doesn't matter.
I mean, here's the thing. The committee has like 97 things they claim weigh in to which team ends up in the tournament seated where they choose to value those things in any given year, that's anyone's guess. So unless we're going back to pure mathematical formula or some other version of that, then this is what happens when you give them an element. Because I think, honestly, what happened with Kansas, what happened with Kansas is they looked at the sheer number of losses, and then they saw them get blown out 3 times over the course of the year, and they're like, I don't know if we want that being our number 1 seed. No, they gave that to Alabama, and then they got stuck between them and Houston, and then they, on the spot, decided between quad 1 and quad 2 wins, and decided to lump them together rather than separate them like they had been to this point, and saw a better record for Houston because they had a whole bunch more quad 2 wins that had to boost it.
My question, honestly, though, because I see a lot of people, I knew this would be the reaction, so many on the text line, they said, well, you got stopped by Texas twice in 1 week. Can I ask as an honest question, and please give an honest answer? So if KU would have lost in the semifinals to Iowa State by 1 point on Friday night and knocked us by 20 to Texas, would you guys be saying? Would you guys be prompting me with the Texas crap over the last week? I'm just curious. Because you get penalized for losing in the conference title game. That's what I'm being told right now.
No, I would say you would have gotten punished. I think they would have been behind Houston if they lost to Iowa State. I mean, didn't the committee tell you that? I think just the loss in general. Turns out,
well, then stop citing me the Texas stuff, please.
Well, I mean, I'm just talking about Texas is just who they lost to. I'm not citing specifically losing to Texas. That's why I brought up TCU all the same. What's it called? They called him.
Oh, he screwed up. Yeah, he screwed up. Seth Davis also got very confused last night.
Seth Davis got very confused about where Kansas City is.
Seth Davis got a little confused last night.
It happens. It definitely happens. But I think the loss was matter no matter what. We asked the question last week. What did Kansas need to do in order to secure the number 1 seed? And we thought at the time that just getting to the Big 12 title game would have done that. It wouldn't have. They had to win it. They had to win the Big 12 title. It seems silly now, I guess, but they had to win the Big 12 tournament. I don't think that losing to Iowa State by 1 would have served them any better or worse.
No,
now,
that was
the one
my
part
point.
I don't understand is
that would have been a joke
the Bill
as well.
Self-Health thing. I don't understand that. Why would that? You should not let that factor into seeding. That has nothing to do with the.
That was something that Chris Reynolds, the selection committee, mentioned last night as well. And that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of things that don't make a whole lot of sense with their logic. It's not so much that just KU didn't get the Midwest region. It's the logic that the committee said makes very little sense. Bill Self-Health, if anything, you're going to say that factors into your decision. Oh, the fact that they won 2 games without him actually made it to the conference title game without him? And KU earlier in the afternoon said, yeah, we expect him to be back with us coaching next week in Des Moines. And next week in the NCAA tournament.
Just out of curiosity, are you Kansas fan who says they're always screwed in the region? Because that Kansas fan exists. I'm asking if you're that.
Yeah, I mean, we could replay.
It's a time for self-reflection.
That's like everybody's favorite thing to say the last 7 years, and it's that's like everybody thinks it's funny the next day that every KU fan complains about this. Normally, I'm not, but this is actually ridiculous that they're not the number 1 overall.
I wish I could remember what you said last year, because they ended up being the easiest bracket. So I don't know.
No, Bob makes that same joke too as well. Like anybody that acts like they don't care about college basketball all year, then they care for 2 days, suddenly makes fun of people that actually do care about college basketball. As people do that, I don't know why. It's kind of weird.
I don't think I'm making fun of people who care about college basketball. I understand, but this is the time to care. You could not care about college basketball all year and care for 2 days. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, you can choose. I'm just saying, it's pretty rich to then complain about people that are passionate about it when it matters because they actually.
No. Well, here's what it is. It's that when you are Kansas, nobody is ever going to feel sorry for you, even if the data would suggest that you did get the short end of the stick. It's like, well, you're Kansas, so deal with it. I think you'll be okay. You still got a number 1 seed. You were the 3rd-ranked team in America. I'm sorry you're not ranked 2nd. It's like one of those deals where you can't expect.
Like 3 times the last 7 years.
You're like, we can be mad as Kansas fans, but you can't expect literally anyone else to have your back and be like, yeah, you know what?
You're right,
man. I won't stand for it either. I don't like Kansas, but I won't stand for this injustice.
I wasn't as upset until I heard the selection committee chair and the reasoning, citing Sasser, the very talented player for Houston who's hurt, but then completely ignoring that the best defender, guy that's up for Defensive Player of the Year nationally, wasn't available in the title game. The logic doesn't add up to me. That's all. If you actually had sound reasoning talking about the committee for why you placed Houston, then that's fine. But I can go through. I've given you 3 or 4 ones that don't add up. The quad 1 stuff, citing someone else's injured player when KU had the bowler not available in the title game, citing a coach's health problem when the KU already said he's going to be available next week. That's my issue.
I think this very clearly came down to we valued the Big 12 basketball more than the committee did.
No, it's not clearly. There's nothing clear.
I think that's what happened.
So here's what you're wrong with that, Cody. No matter how you feel about this, one thing that I feel like is universal is there is nothing clear about any of this. There is no transparency. There is no consistency from year to year. It's like the conversations we have with the College Football Playoff Committee, which is they are consistent in that their criteria is inconsistent. They don't tell you anything throughout the season when they start doing the bracket reveal previews stuff, because they don't want you to hold it against them later when they change their minds on how they're going to ultimately seed this thing.
Like, we've talked about quad 1, because that at some point got made
because the committee claimed they valued that, Cody. That's why we've talked about
about
quad 1.
They value it, and didn't say that until now. I understand, because there is a lot of confusion. Obviously, but this is the problem with the human part of it. Again, nobody liked the BCS model because it was very simply just a math formula. That's it. It was a math formula. But there is not lying in that, right? You can, if strength of schedule and quad 1 and all these things matter, if you knew they matter, you could schedule your system in a way that benefited you the most. And people will find a way to make those stats look better for them. Like just have just hard enough of a strength of schedule, but easy enough to go off of these next things. The Big 12 is going to be interesting over the next few years because Houston, who ended up being the better seed than Kansas, is going to be in the same conference as Kansas and Texas, who had an argument for one seed themselves, is on the 2 line. It's just it's a loaded conference.
I just hope Houston does have a bunch of losses next year in their loss. I just hope the committee doesn't punish them in what will be the toughest conference in the country. I just hope Houston, when they lose 7, 8+ games next year, I just hope that they're close losses, though, because then some team in the American, whatever's left of it, might actually have better route for the number 1 seed.
All this is true, but I think the way you're describing your vitriol towards Houston is exactly what Nick is saying about like people not standing up for Kansas fans. It's like you're taking this out on Houston, who just did nothing. They just existed in their conference and won a bunch of games.
I'm not asking you to stick up for KU fans, but also it'd be pretty boring if I came on today and said, you know what? I'm fine, man. I'm fine with what the committee did. You know what, guys? No, Gold, aren't you? Cody would be like, Gold, aren't you upset about KU? Yeah. No, Cody, I don't care. I have no feeling whatsoever today. Yeah. Is that what you want me to say?
Well, fortunately, I'm professional enough to stay unbiased in this conversation.
Wow, you? Yeah, I am. Podcast.
And, at the end of the day, at some point, you just got to stop whining. You just got to stop complaining.
Bootstraps.
And go out there, pull up your bootstraps, roll up your sleeves, and win some basketball games. Am I right, Cody?
Yeah.
That's what this is all about. Point. You got to go out and you got to play the team in front of you. And the Jayhawks right now, they got to get ready for Howard. All right, they can't spend all day licking their wounds. They got to get ready for the Howard and the mascot of Howard, the Bison.
Wow, you looked that up after you found out who they were playing?
That's Howard Bison.
Did you know that before yesterday?
I'm not so sure. It's their first NCAA tournament burst since '92, so it's not exactly a household basketball program.
Yeah, but they've been on the rise.
Have they? Have they?
Anthony Anderson, comedian, actor, is a graduate of Howard, as was the late Chadwick Boseman.
There you go.
Harold Kuntz told me that on Twitter.
There you go.
Not you personally, just like texted to you?
He texted me. Said, by the way, in case you're looking for some fodder for tomorrow, here are some notable alums. But you got to get ready for that game, man. You got to get ready for that game. And if you're lucky enough to win, it's a quick turnaround. People forget that about the NCAA tournament. Quick turnaround, right on to the next.
People really forget?
Yeah. I mean, then you're getting ready for Illinois, the Fighting Illini, Arkansas, the Razorbacks, Bus.
You'd rather be playing Illinois than Arkansas.
You'd rather be playing than not playing.
That's a good point. Like UMKC, who's not
right. Gold. Think about it like that. You want to talk about getting shafted? UMKC's not even playing. How do you think Cody feels?
It hurts,
That is hopefully his alma mater wins more basketball games in the future.
Yeah, and I think that my therapist tells me focus on what you have, not what you don't have.
Your therapist tells you?
Yeah, and think about what the Jayhawks have. They have a 1 seed, and that's great. They have a chance. They have a shot to win it all.
And they have the title from last year.
That's all you're looking for is just an opportunity.
There's just no way this is going to be your attitude on the Wave and the Weight podcast. I'm going to pull that up. Yeah, I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to play back clips. If all of this
I can do to get you to listen, Cody. Anything I can get you to do to
You're going to give me the download whenever the next episode
Something tells me this would not be Nick's thought process if he was still hosting a radio show in Lawrence, Kansas today in the afternoon. Something tells me he would not say, it doesn't matter, guys. It's all good.
I take offense to that.
No, I'm just saying.
I resent that implication. That I'm not consistent.
I'm with Alex.
I'm sorry that I'm sorry that I believe basketball games are played on the court, not on a spreadsheet like you nerds. You guys want to look at Ken Palm rankings and quad 1 wins. Yeah, I don't care about those numbers. Okay, the only numbers I care about.
I don't think anybody cared about those numbers until we were told that is actually something that people need to care about because that's what the committee
looks at. The only numbers I care about are those numbers that are on the scoreboard when the clock hits 0. And if my team has more than your team, I'm happy.
Good point. I can't wait.
Hey, guys, you know why they call it March Madness now, don't you?
No, I don't. Why?
Because the bracket was the madness right now.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
That is probably
mayhem.
That.
Mayhem, This is March.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Breakdown.
We have our first move of the NFL free agency period.
Yeah?
You ready?
Let me hear it.
It's a trade instead.
Oh.
The Patriots are trading Jonnu Smith back to the Falcons. Great space for New England.
If only
for
the Falcons had a tight end.
pick.
If only the Falcons had a tight end already.
Oh, I just saw this come across the line, too. Michael Thomas has a new contract.
Not that Michael Thomas.
The defensive player, Michael Thomas?
Yeah, for the Bengals. He got a contract extension.
Not the wide receiver.
For 1 year. And like $3 million. When's the legal tampering period open? 11 o'clock?
Yes.
So that's when we can assume everyone will sign contracts that they can't technically sign until Wednesday. Even though we saw a couple players flip last year. In fairness, remember Jerick McKissick?
Yeah.
Didn't he sign with
J.D. McKissick?
Or J.D.
Yeah,
McKissick?
yeah,
Didn't he end up signing with Buffalo and then flipped?
He did.
Back?
He did. He ended up staying with the Commanders. That's true. Yeah, so that's something always to keep in mind with the expected to sign reports that are going to come out very, very soon. I guess they're not official till Wednesday afternoon.
Which means they can change their mind. You can't force them to sign that
I
piece
always
of
wonder
paper
how
and
that
commit to your
doesn't
team.
happen more. Because if I'm a GM of another team and I see so-and-so's expected to sign
For X number of dollars?
then I'm like, well, wait a second here. Okay. All right. You have an even better idea of what it might take.
Yeah, like if you saw it doesn't matter. Like Orlando Brown Jr. today. If you saw that the Chicago Bears were expected to sign Orlando Brown Jr. for 6 years and 200, whatever, it doesn't matter what the number is. And you're like, okay, so that's the number, huh? Okay. Well, we got till Wednesday to convince him to come back here. And we know the exact number if we decide we want to do it. But it was like 2 last year, and it's always the small names. Like McKissick reportedly ended up going back to the Commanders, right? Because he just kind of liked it there. Like he was with them the time before, and he was like, I kind of want to just stay with the team I'm at. It had nothing to do with the amount of money that was being offered by either the Commanders or Buffalo. Although I guess maybe the Commanders were offering a little bit less. Do you think it's going to even be noisy for the Chiefs at all for these first 3 days?
I don't know if it'll be noisy per se, but I think whether it's today or tomorrow, we'll get our answer on 2 things. I think we'll find out for sure whether Juju's coming back or not, and I think we'll know if Orlando Brown Jr. was able to get the kind of money that he believes he's worth and he can get on the open market. I think there'll be some clarity on those 2 players. I think some of the other decisions, the other free agents, the McKinnons, the Mike Danas, the Colin Saunders, those are days down the road, if not next week type of signings.
Those aren't day one.
But the front, one of the first 4 or 5 true deals, it wouldn't surprise me if one of them involves Juju or Orlando Brown Jr.
I would think that those are 2 of the biggest names available in the free agent market. Like any list, right? ESPN's got their top 100 free agents, and both those guys are in the top 30. So, you would think that those are players that move pretty quickly. Or McCole Hardman, because of the lack of wide receivers who are available, you would think his name moves kind of quick because of just the numbers at wide receiver that are available overall. There are things that really matter to the Chiefs and matter in related to their draft strategy and how they handle the rest of free agency or if they're looking to make trades. You're right. I don't expect them to go out and sign some of the biggest name free agents who are available, but they actually have 2 of the biggest name free agents who are available and several other players who were contributors to their team, whether they be Thornhill or Saunders or others, that are going to kind of impact the way they approach this thing. So, as always, I kind of like it because the legal tampering and all these contracts, it's just the craziest 4 days in the NFL where just player after player after player gets signed. And this is even when some of those big pre-draft trades happen as well because teams are starting to figure out what may or may not be available for them.
Coming up next, so there was a tweet that was sent over the weekend that had people talking, although I don't really think it should surprise people based off of what we know about the said player. Plus, Cody says this team will not be rising up to number 2 in the AFC.
Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
You talk on the radio. Yeah. You're a fanboy.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Hi, I'm Rex.
And I'm Crystal.
We're KC Real Estate Buyers.
And we buy houses for cash.
If you own a house and want to avoid the hassles, sell fast, and at a fair price,
call us today at 816-330-6000.
we can pay cash and close quickly.
We buy houses in any condition, any price range, and in any location.
We're private real estate investors who buy several houses a month, and we want to buy more.
We buy inherited houses, divorce houses,
Behind in payment houses,
smelly and outdated houses, tired of being a landlord houses,
vacant houses, your grandma's shag carpet houses.
foreclosure houses, hey, even perfectly fine, great-looking houses.
If you want to avoid the hassles, get a fair price, and sell your home fast, call us today at 816-330-6000. That's 1-866-330-6000.
Call us today or go to rexkc.com.
That's rexspyskc.com. Don't forget the number, 816-330-6000.
Growing up, nothing was more fun than playing outside, climbing trees and getting dirty. Hi, this is Larry Ryan with Ryan Lawn and Tree. Well, we grew up, but now we love working outside, creating beautiful lawns, caring for trees and shrubs, fixing irrigation systems, and providing our customers with industry best services. Our Ryan pros are passionate about creating spaces your family, friends, and even pets can enjoy. Our Ryan pros in those clean red trucks are highly trained, full-time employee owners. And as an owner, they're personally committed to providing you with unmatched results and award-winning 5-star customer service. And we're local, so no 1-800 number here. Visit RyanLawn.com today for a free estimate. Hey, and if you want an outdoor career with us as an employee owner, visit RyanLawn.com. I personally guarantee you'll be glad you did.
The Landing in Liberty, the largest sports bar north of the river, and the home of over 65 HD TVs with every sports package. Hey, our motto is any game, anytime. 10,000 square feet under one roof to provide adequate social distancing. Our nonstop patio is not covered, but in the winter it's home to the only dine-in heated igloos in the Northland. Each igloo has its own TV and sound system and seats up to 8 people. The Landing has a great menu featuring the best dry rub wings in Kansas City and the home of the Ben Mallard chicken fingers. Most of our menu items, dressing, and wing sauces are house-made. Daily food specials, happy hour every day from 3 till 7 p.m. Live music on our smoking patio Thursday through Sunday nights. Make your next destination the Landing in Liberty. Food, fun, music, and sports. The Landing in Liberty, 1189 West Kansas Street in Liberty. Check us out online at thelandingeateryandpub.com. We'll see you at the Landing.
This March, take your first shot at college hoops with FanDuel Sportsbook and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 on the bracket and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting everything from the money line to point spreads to that 5 versus 12 seed matchup you've been eyeing. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. There's no better place to bet the tournament than FanDuel Sportsbook. Sign up today by going to FanDuel.com/win and make every moment more with FanDuel all tournament long.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable sportsbook bonus bets that expire in phase. Restrictions apply. Default terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342 Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit KSGamblingHelp.com Kansas. 1-877-770 Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. 1-800-522-4700 Wyoming or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net West Virginia.
Lowe's always has more ways for you to save. On top of our everyday low prices, pros can save big when buying in bulk. Or if your purchase is over $1,500, ask about our volume savings program. A pro associate can provide a customized quote. Ask about our volume savings programs today. It always pays to be a pro at Lowe's. While supplies last, minimum purchase required. Selection varies by location. Lowe's reserves the right to limit quantities. Volume discount pricing quotes are valid up to 7 days. Visit your local pro desk to learn more and start saving. Offers subject to change and may not be available in all Lowe's stores.
Wendy's 2 for $6 lets you mix and match some of our best items, like Dave Single with a 10-piece crispy nugs, medium strawberry lemonade with a spicy chicken sandwich, spicy chicken with a Dave Single with a strawberry lemonade, strawberry lemonade, if you're into that. Chicken Sam, crispy nugs, strawberry lemonade, Dave's, nugs, Sam. Whew. Pick what you want at a price you want. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's 2 for $6. For a limited time, price and participation may vary at U.S. Wendy's. On the card only. Single item at regular price.
Whew, this feels good.
Why does he feel good? Because he has all the hot water he needs. Now you can catch the feels with a Navien tankless hot water heater. Imagine all the hot water you want for as long as you need. No wasting money and energy. No more cutting that shower short. Just hot water all the time, every time. So feel good. Woo! So good. With a Navien tankless hot water heater. Visit tanklessmadesimple.com to learn more.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs.
I never thought about space in my cramped apartment, but in this house, all I see is empty space. The sofa and ottoman look like tiny islands in a sea of hardwood floors. I could get 2 ottomans in the living room, but then I'd need another sofa. I could tell people I'm into minimalism.
Anyway, when you save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto, that's the easy part of adjusting to the suburbs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
It's March, and that can mean only one thing. The madness is here. Not in front of a TV on game day? Listen to every round of NCAA March Madness live from Westwood One, free in the Odyssey app. Catch all the biggest moments of the tournament, no matter where you are. From Cinderellas,
a 15 seed will head to the Elite Eights,
to buzzer beaters.
Atkinson scores! 1.4 seconds left.
To champions.
For the fourth time,
it's time to go dancing. Download the Odyssey app today to get started.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Brought to you by Gomer's. 5 locations in the KC Metro or shop online at gomers.com.
Gomer's has all you need to celebrate St. Patrick's Day and basketball tournaments this March. Voted KC's #1 liquor store, we strive to be the best in price, selection, and service. With 5 locations in the KC Metro or shop online at gomers.com.
Coverage of opening day is brought to you by the KCKPD, accepting applications for new and experienced law enforcement officers. KCKPD.org for more information. Equal opportunity employer.
We'll get back to college basketball. Always good to hear that music. We'll get back to that in a little while.
You a fan of that song?
It's a great song. We're just not going to talk college basketball right now. We'll get back into that a little bit later. But yes, I love that song.
Cody, you like it?
I think all of the college basketball March Madness music is overrated.
What?
One Shining Moment.
I knew he would do this.
It's all just...
You don't like any of it?
It's just so cheesy.
Okay, well, that's just
corny and dumb.
You did 2 notes of a song, and then as if that's to tell us why it sucks.
It's all corny. It's all super corny. Like, it's everybody sitting in a room together being like, I'm not crying, you're crying.
Do you hear him right now?
One Shining Moment is the living embodiment of you and Alex sitting in a room together saying, I'm not crying, you're crying. And you're doing a competition for who's crying more. Who's got more tears.
In the last segment, this goes back to something exactly what I said in the last segment. The idea of, like, if you are actually passionate and have tradition and something connected
you're
to
lame.
it, then how dare you have that feeling? I'm too cool to think that it's a cool song. That's basically what you just told me.
No, it's not a cool song. It's objectively not a cool song.
It's rich coming from you.
What's that mean?
All I'll say
You know
is,
exactly what it means.
I will say, if you're UMKC Roos did make an actual NCAA tournament and won a game or two or were featured in that more often, because they haven't been ever before, then I think you actually would actually appreciate it a little bit
I grew up watching college basketball a lot. I watched the NCAA tournament.
But you don't have no. I mean, I'm not even truly trying to be a jerk, but like you don't have the school that has the attachment to what those memories are. I'm like, seriously, that is part of it, man.
I grew up watching teams playing in the tournament that I was rooting for.
You don't have like a diehard team you root for that's in the tournament consistently. It's not trying to be
not
a
now,
jerk,
no.
but like
as a kid, I would have.
Who though?
I grew up watching Colorado and Kansas almost exclusively growing up.
What did Kansas do to you all of a sudden where now you're on the opposite track?
Nothing. I just don't think, like, I watched
I just don't care, man.
I'm
too cool to care.
No, it's like you're afraid to admit that the thing you like is dumb. You can like it, but it's dumb. It's a dumb song. It's a stupid song that's not catchy.
This happens every...
It doesn't matter, and you're afraid to admit it. You can like it.
This happens every...
It's like the people are afraid to like, they like Carly Rae Jepsen.
I think the text line just did it. The text line just solved it.
Yeah,
From the 913.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Come up with a new March Madness jingle since you think it's so bad and disrespectful.
You're the jingle guy.
Come on.
You're the jingle guy. You said this one sucks. It's corny. Then write a new one, pal.
A cooler, hip one?
Do it,
Yeah,
man.
I'm going to solve that problem.
Oh, now all of a sudden...
Oh, I have to solve everyone's problems?
Now all of a sudden, Cody says he's not capable of writing. If it's so terrible,
fine.
Then you should be able to write a better one.
Instead of One Shining Moment?
Yeah, and you know what? We'll put it on a CD, and we'll ship it straight to Indianapolis and see if they'll use it instead of One Shining Moment this year.
Like they're just going to mail it to them and hope that somebody finds this envelope. And it's like, you know what?
Send it right to Mark Emmert's office.
Is he even still in charge?
No.
It's like he's not even the commissioner.
He's still got pull.
He's not in charge of the NCAA anymore. He's not. That's somebody else. Some new guy. I don't remember his name.
Well, he'll know who to send it to.
So we'll get back to college hoops a little bit later on, though. But there was a tweet that was sent out this weekend that had people talking, but I actually don't know why all that much because I felt like we were all pretty confident this was going to be the case, or at least for the next 4 or 5 years. That was Chris Jones, his official Twitter account. He was responding to a fan after Chris tweeted out he's grateful. A fan said, extension announcement soon? You have to retire a Chief. Chris Jones responded, I'm a Chief for life. I will not play for another franchise. Now, look, I don't know if he ultimately is getting in his career when he's 34, 35 years old or whatever in Kansas City. But I feel great about him getting an extension. Like, that's honestly way in the back burner of my mind of concerns for this offseason. We have heard that it's going to happen after the draft, so it's not something that's supposed to happen today or this week. Don't be concerned if that doesn't occur. But, like, it's always great for fans to see that. It's reassuring when you see a player tweet that out. But I'm like, yeah, I think he does want to be in Kansas City. I'm not really concerned about his long-term deal happening.
The real question is, will it happen? Sure, he wants to be a Chief for life. I think it's kind of easy for him to say. He was one of the loudest, most vocal people when it came to his thought that they were going to start a dynasty and that they were going to win all these Super Bowls, and came on this show, right? He has been a part of 2 Super Bowl teams. He's been one of the biggest factors why they've been able to have these kinds of runs. He's been their best defensive player this entire run. I could see why he would want to be a Chief for life. I just don't know. Like, I guess the real question is, I just don't know how that's even plausible. Like, I don't know how it even can come out that way, because he would need, 2 contracts, or he's retiring in 4 years at 32 years old. I think really this is about him saying, I'm going to sign a long-term extension here. I'm going to be here in the long run. And yeah, maybe if there's, because like Von Miller, I'm sure thought he was going to be with Denver for his entire career. Towards the end, things get weird. Sometimes prices go up, free agency happens, and people move on. All these telling you gold is what you and I feel very confident about. I'm at like 99%. Chris Jones is going to end up back in a Chiefs uniform. There's no other player other than Patrick Mahomes that I am that confident of will be here for the next at least 3 seasons in a Chiefs uniform. It's 99% at this point. I don't see any kind of variance.
I think that's also why we're not hearing a whole lot of noise around it either. Like, I think both sides, both the agent for Chris Jones and the Chiefs, feel confident that it's a matter of time. And also, they're not pressed up against, hey, he's a free agent. He's still under contract, so they can wait. They can wait till well after the draft if they need to, and it sounds like that's the direction that they're likely to head into.
But similar in the Orlando Brown thing, don't you think that they want a long-term answer at an important defensive position? Because that was the whole reason.
But again, I don't think they're worried. Sure. I don't think they don't. I think they feel very good about where they're at, because I think the way Chris played, and then also seeing the market, they know for the most part the dollar amount. I think it's going to come down to the structure, what's the guaranteed money, and the bonus. The actual annual per year type of situation, I don't think has changed all that much. I bet you the Chiefs aren't all that surprised to see the Commanders' defensive tackle, who was tagged and then got a long-term deal yesterday, Daron Payne, ends up signing 4-year, $90 million contract, $28 million bonus, $45 guaranteed, and then $60 million overall in total guarantees. Like, I don't think the Chiefs were caught off guard by that number.
We also knew that it was more than his number. It was always going to be more than his number. The weirdest part about defensive end is, currently, there is no second place, and when you're talking about defensive ends in the current NFL, Chris Jones has proven he has been, over the course of the last 5 years, the second best defensive tackle in the NFL. Last year, he was the best defensive tackle, but the difference has been, like, until Payne signed, what was the difference? Like $10 million between the highest paid defensive tackle and Aaron Donald, who doesn't get treated like any other defensive tackle. They paid him more like a defensive end. So I assume Chris Jones' number is between those two. The remaining question is, how close can he actually get to Aaron Donald's number? How close to Aaron Donald's number is he asking? Because he got paid $25 million a year. He would very clearly be the second highest paid defensive tackle in the NFL by several $million, right? He would be way clear of 3. He could get more guarantees by $20 million. He could be way clear of that and still be tens of millions of dollars short in both the full contract of Aaron Donald and of the guarantees. Like, is he willing to go that far below, or are you really going to have to get to the Spa Track estimate, which is 4 years, $120 million and $90 million guaranteed, which is a whole hell of a lot closer to Aaron Donald's number than it is to the one we just saw signed yesterday in Payne.
Yeah, the Chiefs and Chris Jones, it's one of those where if we wake up and it's a week after the draft and it's not done, or 2 weeks after that, that's when you can start to
off season.
But this is, it's weird because it's going to be a massive extension, but it is so far down the list of my concerns of what the Chiefs can accomplish this offseason. Getting an extension of Chris Jones, I think that is almost a foregone conclusion at this point. The bigger questions are what maybe we find out starting in the next 20 minutes or so when the legal tampering window opens up. Real quick, there's a little bit of news from Adam Schefter, just that the Texans and Raiders are expected to pursue your guy, former 49ers quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo.
Have fun with that.
He also mentions the Jets also could get in, but they're in wait-and-see mode for a guy named Aaron Rodgers, who still, despite claiming he wouldn't hold the offseason hostage and would have a decision made by March,
free agency.
The tampering window opens in 20 minutes, and Aaron Rodgers has not notified the Jets or the Packers his intentions.
Kind of a big deal for two teams not to know, because like the Packers cannot spend money in free agency if Aaron Rodgers comes back, or can't spend real money in free agency if Aaron Rodgers comes back, and the Jets, might need a starting quarterback, kinda, if Aaron Rodgers isn't going to come to them, and he's never going to give them an answer.
So we'll keep an eye on all things legal tampering window, which overall, can we just say the league should just go back and just have it wide open anyway? This is so stupid. This idea that, yes, it's starting on Monday instead of Wednesday, but just have it wide open anyway.
Open the floodgates.
Most of it's happening today to begin with. There was a trade that happened as well this weekend. That's something you could have already done. That was the Miami Dolphins and the LA Rams. The Rams moving on from Jalen Ramsey. He gets sent off to the Dolphins. They're redoing a contract as well. A Dolphins team that has a quarterback on a rookie contract. This is what you should do. We say this all the time. You have a quarterback on a rookie deal. You can be ultra aggressive. You can make some really aggressive trades and maybe even give some contracts out that are a little bit more aggressive than a team that was playing the long game would. The Dolphins are playing right now the short game. They have a talented quarterback on a rookie deal. Big question mark of health, of course, with Tua. But I get the move for Jalen Ramsey. They needed to bolster the secondary. That was their weakness. They went out and signed Vic Fangio to be their defensive coordinator. Say what you will as a head coach. Defensive coordinator Vic Fangio has been one of the better defensive coordinators in the league. Tua is healthy. That is a massive. We all know the concussion stuff. The Dolphins we could be sitting here talking about them as the number 2 contender. The number 2 contender battling it out with Cincinnati. Let's not forget what the Dolphins were before the concussion. The Dolphins still won 9 games despite missing for 6+ games, having Skylar Thompson start games for them at times, Teddy Bridgewater for a game or 2. That's a very talented team that we were talking about for the first 8 weeks of the season. Mike McDaniel being coach of the year, and man, the Dolphins might win that division. I think this is a smart trade by the Miami Dolphins, and they're going to be right up there in that top tier of the AFC.
They can't. They're like 4th.
They can't?
They're like 4th.
How come they can't?
I don't know. I had more time to think about it. We probably overreacted a little bit to Miami in the middle of the season at some point last year. They were going through that run, and they were having one of those top-held offenses, and when Tua was the starter, they were winning all their games, but no other team trying to build it the way Miami is. Miami's whole plan is on defense, 2 top corners. And you're like, that's not a good way to build a defense. It just isn't. They were trying to do it before, and obviously Byron Jones now with a major injury stuff, and his release means they're walking away from that. But that was their previous plan on defense, and now their same plan on defense is, what if we have 2 top corners? I understand they've made moves for guys for like Bradley Chubb, who are like mediocre pass rushers in the NFL market, but their same problems exist. They will be exposed defensively because of their lack of pass rush. Jalen Ramsey does not solve their problem.
What do we say all the time, though? I know it's Tua, it's not Patrick Mahomes. What do we say all the time, though? If your offense can be a top 5 offense, you don't need your defense to be a top 10 defense.
And look, with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, they probably got one more year of somewhere near that level. But I still have major questions about Tua. And I know that they were off to a really good start. He was off to a really good start. They were scoring a lot of points. They were a big play offense. But people will have a second year to figure them out. Tua, like at this point, we talk about like with Kadarius Toney. Can I even count on Tua for 17 games?
That's why I said if healthy.
Like,
if he's healthy, they can be the number 2 contender.
I just don't think,
obviously a question.
But that's it. I don't think he can. The if to me is already answered. He can't be healthy. Joe Burrow has proven this. I don't know why we would already jump them over Buffalo, a team who is continuously beating them in the division just because they can't get past Kansas City. They'll have their own cap problems, but they're still going to have a huge core of what has been a pretty regular, 12 or 13 win team. I'm not close to putting Miami above those teams yet. There need to be a lot more evidence for me than just Jalen Ramsey.
It's funny. People were willing to do it 9 weeks into last season. On this very show, we had a conversation about moving them up. and now they go and improve their defense. And yeah, the Tua question is huge. I mean, I don't feel comfortable predicting whether someone's going to have a concussion next season and potentially have life-altering effects, but it's a fair conversation that has to be pointed out when we're discussing Tua. But I get why they're approaching it that way. You got a rookie contract. You can go ahead and make trades like they are for Jalen Ramsey. I do think they'll be a better defense anyway with Vic Fangio as their defensive coordinator. But that division, the Dolphins, I think they will be battling right there with the Buffalo Bills. I think at some point in time, if you're the Buffalo Bills, the idea of winning your division by 3 or 4 games, that's not going to keep on happening. There's way too much competition. There's also a Jets team that might have Aaron Rodgers here before the end of the day.
The same thing.
All of a sudden, what
there might be a Jets team who has Jimmy Garoppolo, in which we feel very differently about.
That's different. Yes.
How good they are.
It's definitely a different scenario if that actually happens.
Gotta write something down. Nick's notable notes.
All right, guys. March Madness is officially upon us. What do you think's the maddest thing about March, Cody?
I don't know. What's that mean?
Have you started working on any lyrics for your new Final Four jingle?
We just started talking about
this.
this.
You got till Thursday morning.
15 minutes ago.
You got till Thursday morning, man.
Thursday morning?
That's the start of the real tournament. We're not counting the first 4. Start of the actual tournament Thursday morning.
Yeah.
I think 11 a.m. is the first tip-off, or 11:05. West Virginia.
That's my chance to change one shining moment.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm sure you guys have seen this, that Kansas didn't get the easiest draw. They're in the West region being shipped out to Las Vegas, where they are in the same region as 3 teams who, if they were to play on a neutral court, which if they wind up playing each other, they will play on a neutral court, would be favored.
Man, stop complaining about KU's draw.
No,
ridiculous.
not complain.
Stop complaining about KU's draw.
Man.
I don't think the draw is bad. I just think they should have been the number 1 overall seeding out the Midwest region.
See,
I actually don't think their region is this death region that everybody says.
So I'm giving you the cold hard facts here. And that's all I ever do. It's all I've ever done. If Kansas were to face their 2 seed, UCLA, their 3 seed, Gonzaga, or their 4 seed in Connecticut, they would likely be underdogs in all 3 of those games. Now, Gonzaga would probably be close to a pick-em, but UCLA is, the advanced metrics love them. UConn has been an advanced metrics darling all season long. According to Ken Pomeroy, what's he know, right? According to his metrics, which have been around since 2003, Kansas has the lowest percentage chance of reaching the Final Four of any 1 seed since 2003.
You're a fanboy.
Man, that's enough. It's enough.
Enough. The toughest draw for a 1 seed since 2003. Does that change your tone at all, Cody?
No.
You want to back off your stance?
Not really. They had the easiest draw in 25 years last year, so it's fine. Works out okay for Kansas, it turns out.
Don't you find it tough on days like today, Gold, where you just know this, no matter what you say, no matter how you frame it, no matter how you package this argument, everybody out there who is not a Kansas fan, of which there are many listening to this very segment, very second, are just ready to destroy you from any possible angle they can because they love it. Yeah. They think it's hilarious. They think it's the coolest thing ever that A, Kansas got screwed, and B, Kansas fans are salty about it.
Yeah, that's normal fandom, right? But it's
you're supposed to dislike when good things happen to the other, like when bad things do.
And look, it'll definitely swing right back towards Missouri as they are underdogs, by the way.
Yeah, they are.
Against Utah. Utah State out of the Mountain West. Spoiler, you can guess who I'll be rooting for in that contest, those of you who've been texting in all morning.
Yeah, Utah State,
no,
by the way.
it would not be the Tigers.
By the way, Utah State, according to Ken Pom, is
Aggies.
the 18th ranked team in the country.
Those Aggies, man, they can shoot the 3 ball. Look out.
And there is your Utah State breakdown here on Cody and Gold.
We all decide the one thing we've heard about that school and just decide to perpetuate that one fact. Shoot the 3.
Well, they're
38% for 3.
Utah State's going to beat Missouri. Missouri fans are feeling very good because they beat Tennessee, who doesn't have their best player, in the quarterfinals of the SEC tournament, and then didn't get embarrassed by Alabama. So they're feeling very good, and they're going to lose in the opening round to Utah State. It's going to be interesting to watch for Carrington and everybody else coming up later this week.
Yeah, it's brutal, man. It's brutal knowing that you're in the right. Like all the data, everything is on your side, but nobody will agree with you unless they are also a Kansas fan or a KU grad like Alex
I like
and I are.
K-State's path. I will say K-State. I like it for you.
Let me ask you guys
I like
this.
K-State's path.
Everybody wanted, you're right, Gold. Everybody wanted Kansas to be in, well, all KU fans wanted Kansas to be in the Midwest, mostly because it were in Kansas City. If the regional site was not Kansas City, if it was Oklahoma City, if it was Dallas, if it was Louisville, I don't know. Name a different Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
Would we care all that
People
much?
would be upset, but it
care?
wouldn't be nearly the same level.
I do wish
I think
any
what
local
happened-
school had a chance to play in Kansas City. It stinks that no Missouri, no K-State, no Kansas. Like, there's no chance for Kansas City to get it. They get Iowa State fans, which obviously show up in droves to Kansas City.
It sucks for Power and Light. You know, if you don't get a huge fan base that travels, now you're not going to get any of the local. Don't get a fan base that's willing to come down and travel. It really hurt them. They were, I mean, a lot of those businesses were counting on having that draw for those couple days during the mid-region. So, yeah, to your point, the fact that the Kansas City tie-in, I think, makes it sting a little bit more. But we all know, I mean, KU lost to Oregon in the Elite Eight when it was in Kansas City. So it doesn't guarantee you a trip to the Final Four.
I actually think this is real spin. This is defense mechanism. I know it. But but you know what? But it's one of those. I think I'm a pathological liar now because I actually think that I believe it, even if I don't actually believe it. That playing in Kansas City is actually a detriment. You need to get out of your element. You need to get out of your comfort zone. That is where growth happens. That is where you are forced to sort of batten down the hatches and say, you know what? This is going to be tough now. We got a tough region. We got teams who are playing closer to home. It's us against the world. Kind of like the Chiefs, right? The Chiefs have always been better when they go on the road because I feel like you're more hyper-focused than when you have to drive 30 minutes down the road.
Except in the postseason when they only play at home and have 2 Super Bowl titles and 5 AFC title game appearances. But yeah, sure. Or where Kansas at home has the single greatest home field advantage in college basketball. But other than that,
no,
Nick,
but this isn't
great point.
But this isn't at home, Cody. We're not talking about them playing at Allen Fieldhouse. We're talking about them playing at the Sprint Center. And that has been one of my long-standing beliefs, that Kansas playing in the Sprint Center, they always expect it to be like a home game. Hey, we're driving 30 minutes. It's going to be all KU fans. But you get in that building, and it's nothing like Allen Fieldhouse. It is like a modern basketball arena. It doesn't have that same sort of atmosphere and energy that you get at home. And you were always expecting, like this always happens at Allen. There's always going to be a stretch where you're not playing well and the crowd's going to pick you up. That doesn't ever happen at the Sprint Center. So I feel like just getting out of Kansas City, again, defense mechanism. I know in my heart of hearts I don't actually believe
You're
it.
really talking
but
yourself
I'm talking
into this
myself
one.
into the idea that playing in Vegas is the best thing that could have happened to this team.
That's what you have to do when it, doesn't go the
This
way
is
you want it
great.
to.
Oh, yeah, this is great.
Gold loves Vegas. I don't know why you don't just go.
Dude, you should go.
Way too expensive.
Is it? Have you already checked?
Yeah, flights and everything are way too
How
expensive.
much we talking?
$575, I think, is what it was. I don't know what it is this morning. That's before hotel. I'm not.
So I got some flight credits from that
not
whole
making-
winter storm thing.
You going to go out?
Why not?
I think Gold's saving it for if they end up in Houston.
I don't know, though. I would almost, but I think it would be more fun to be in Vegas for the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight than it would be to be in Houston for the Final Four. Because Vegas is cooler than Houston, and going to basketball games, like I get it. If your team's there, it's awesome no matter what. But going to basketball games in these massive arenas just stinks. It's a horrible setting for a basketball game.
Yeah, but what's the last back-to-back NCAA champion?
I know.
So if your team's in the Final Four and you're a Kansas fan and they're going for back-to-back national titles,
I totally understand.
That weight would hold a lot.
I totally understand. You get inside these buildings and you can hardly see the court. It doesn't feel like a basketball game. And I'm sorry. And I'm sad.
You don't have to say you're sorry. No one's asking you to go. You don't have to go to Houston. That's much more drivable than
It's a good drive. It's just a drive. Still.
What's it, 12 hours?
Yeah, it's a 12
I haven't looked, but are you arguing with someone on the text line right now?
I'm responding to people.
I can always tell when you're kind of looking down and your lips are kind of pursed.
Responding to people, yeah.
Would you describe the tone as terse?
No.
Is it an argument?
No, someone says I wouldn't be talking about Missouri the way you guys are for people that get their paycheck. And I just wanted to remind the person that my paycheck comes exactly not directly from the University of Missouri or any pro team or college team in the area. That's not how we get paid.
Wait, is someone suggesting we get paid by Missouri?
I wouldn't talk like that if you're thinking about Missouri athletics, since you guys make your money off Missouri pro teams, was the response I got on the text line.
And is that because one of our sister stations has the rights to Missouri broadcasting?
Spoiler alert, that is not how our compensation comes. We get absolutely $0 on my paycheck from Missouri or KU or K-State. But thank you.
Well, because you're rooting against them?
Yes,
that it?
That's right. Yes.
Okay. You know what, honestly? I'm going to tell the boss.
Please do.
You are rooting for this company to have less money,
right.
and I'm rooting for them to have more.
Me
Nick.
too.
I'd like our company to have more money.
Whatever I can do to help this
I'd like
company
K-State
make
and
more
Missouri
money.
to go as far as possible, you know?
You know what? I think I'm going to make
That's
that
how
my
it works.
Final Four.
You know what?
Yep, it's over. It's done. I'm making that my Final Four.
Kansas State and Missouri.
Yep.
Who's the
That's
fourth
exactly
team?
right.
Who you got out of the Midwest?
Houston.
There you go.
Because they earned it. Because they earned that spot, and I think that they're gonna make the most of it.
And what's great is if KU, K-State, and Missouri, based on the texters' compensation, if they all make it to the Final Four, we get bonuses too, because I'm told we get compensated by those universities.
Oh, really?
Massive
Yeah, so we
bonuses.
actually get bonuses if they make it far in the tournament.
Can't wait.
All right, coming up next, though, the legal tampering window in the NFL opens up in about 3 minutes or so. We'll see what happens right at 11 o'clock, and Cody says they're going to be even better for the next decade. I don't know how it's possible, but he says this team is going to be.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Subscribe and download to the Character Concerns podcast right now on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. 610 Sports Radio.
Talking about going to see the boss. I was going to go tell Alex and them, but we talked to the boss about our parking lot situation. It's not good. She knew it. We all knew it. That's why we're getting it fixed by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. We're not just telling you to go, I'm not just telling you to go use their services. We're trusting them right here at our own company because it's a reflection of your business. When people pull in and they see that it's falling apart or in disrepair, they know that you're not maybe taking care of them the same way because you're ignoring projects at your own place, whether it be paving or commercial paving services or those concrete services or just like a full parking lot or just maintenance stuff. They can take care of that for you at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Give them a call, 816-484-3338, or go to GANNasphalt.com to see some of those results yourself. They've got before and after pictures so you can see exactly the difference they can make for your business now. And if you're looking for a career, they're also looking to hire all positions. Project manager, dump truck drivers, operators, and crew members, all starting pay up to $30 an hour based on experience with paid time off and insurance, among just some of the benefits package. Go to GANNasphalt.com or give them a call, 484-3338 to learn more.
Catch the basketball tournament pizza special only at Old Shawnee Pizza. Get a medium one-topping pizza with a small order of breadsticks for only $16.99. Call or go to ShawneePizza.com today. Only at Old Shawnee Pizza. 2 locations, Shawnee and Lenexa.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. This March, take your first shot at college hoops with FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook app. And get this, you get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. If you bet $20 on the bracket, you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting on everything from the money line, point spreads, all on an app that's safe, secure, super easy to use, and you get paid your winnings quick. There's no better place to bet the tournament than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. March is one of my favorite months, and I know it's one of yours, so why not put a little bit of money in your hands by betting on the bracket? Sign up today by going to FanDuel.com/CDOT. Make every moment more with FanDuel all tournament long, all March long. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official sportsbook partner of 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas on agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Get help with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit KansasGamblingHelp.com.
Hey guys, it's Nick. I've been trying to get in better shape for a while now, and I'm finally trying to commit to an actual plan. One thing that's been super helpful in kickstarting this healthier lifestyle is this product called 213 Flashpoint. It's a powder I mix with water in the morning about 30 minutes before breakfast, gives me an energy boost, kickstarts my metabolism, and it helps curb those cravings throughout the day. What I used to do was eat some breakfast in the morning, then by 10 o'clock I'm starving again, eat a little snack to tide me over. A couple more hours pass, and it's noon. The wheels have completely fallen off the wagon. I'm grabbing a bag of chips or whatever other junk is within arm's reach. I went to Supplement Superstores. They did two things that have changed everything for me. They made a custom meal plan, and they introduced me to 213 Flashpoint. 213 Flashpoint isn't some sort of miracle supplement. It just helps me stick to doing the stuff I already know I needed to do. It gives me a nudge in the right direction that I need, and it's really made a difference in how I get through the day. I really think it could help you too. Check out 213 Flashpoint at any of the 8 Supplement Superstores locations in the KC metro area.
Coverage of opening day is brought to you by the KCKPD, accepting applications for new and experienced law enforcement officers. KCKPD.org for more information. Equal opportunity employer.
This March, take your first shot at college hoops with FanDuel Sportsbook and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 on the bracket and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you could spend betting everything from the money line to point spreads to that 5 versus 12 seed matchup you've been eyeing. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. There's no better place to bet the tournament than FanDuel Sportsbook. Sign up today by going to FanDuel.com/win and make every moment more with FanDuel all tournament long.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager. Only $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable sportsbook bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit KSGamblingHelp.com Kansas. 1-877-770-STOP Louisiana. Visit MDGamblingHelp.org in Maryland. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. 1-800-522-4700 Wyoming or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net West Virginia.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-324-0231. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-324-0231 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-324-0231 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-324-0231.
Is it time to update your kitchen or bathroom? The team at Aspire Kitchen and Bath can help. They'll listen to your ideas and put together the perfect plan to fit your dream and your budget. Set up your no-cost, hassle-free consultation today at AspireKitchenandBath.com.
Zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. We have the pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power. Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with the set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan-A-Tool program and borrow the tools you need to get the job done. Get in zone, AutoZone. Claim based on data from the MPD Group 2021. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool.
Searching for fun ways to spend your tax return? Boats for cats. Oh, flotation devices for cats. Don't waste it all on something silly. Spend smarter with Straight Talk. Get our Silver Unlimited plan for $45 a month with unlimited high-speed data and with nationwide 5G. Plus, get a Samsung A13 5G for only $99.99, down from $149. If you're looking to get the most out of your refund, your search ends here. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See latest terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios.
For the second time in 4 seasons, the Lombardi Trophy has a red and gold reflection. A big red reflection. The Chiefs are champions of Super Bowl 57.
610 Sports Radio, KCST Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, and Odyssey Station.
All right, into the 11 o'clock hour, let the tampering begin in the NFL. The tampering window has just opened up, and already starting to see some reports from those national reporters. Nothing Chiefs-related yet, but the Raiders are expected, according to Adam Schefter, to be interested in free agent quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, does that mean that that's their long-term solution, or does that mean that Jimmy G for a year, guys, and they draft a Will Levis or an Anthony Richardson or something like that. I could see that being it. Also, Diana Rossini reporting the Bucs have shown interest in both quarterback Baker Mayfield and Jacoby Brissett to fill their void at quarterback, left behind, of course, by Tom Brady. Baker Mayfield was on the Panthers last year, then got cut, then made his way over to the Rams, had that one ridiculous comeback, 2-minute drill, may or may not have lost some money because of Baker Mayfield, and then now he's getting some interest from
Survivor
the Bucs.
money?
Yeah, and then Jacoby Brissett, of course, has just been a really stable backup and also played a good chunk of last season as a starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns while Deshaun Watson was serving that lengthy suspension. So that's where we're at news-wise in the first 5 minutes of the legal tampering window in the NFL. We will certainly talk about the Chiefs' expectations as the day goes on. We'll get back to that. You think, though, this Chiefs team, this organization as a whole, has a chance to actually one-up themselves. How?
So it seems silly because it's going to be like, this is the most Homer conversation ever, but it's true. The more you look at it, so the last decade, and I don't mean like decade is in 2010 to 2020. I mean just the last 10 years of Chiefs football. They have been the most successful organization in football. We know that. They got 2 Super Bowl titles. They got a better winning percentage than even the Patriots. They got a better postseason and regular season winning percentage combined than both of these, than the Patriots as well. A team that had some crazy success in the early part of that decade while the Chiefs were still toiling around with 4 years of Alex Smith before eventually obviously getting Patrick Mahomes and things absolutely took off. But that's why this decade of dominance that they've just gone through, this 10 straight years where they were the best team in football, get ready for another 10. And not just that, I think it will be better. For that one reason alone, almost. 4 of those 10 years were with Alex Smith. Yeah, but they were still winning divisions. They were still going to the postseason. They ended their postseason winning drought. But they got like a couple of playoff wins. They're going to have 4 more years of prime Patrick Mahomes over the next 10 years than they did in the previous one where they already did this. And the reason why it's important is the Patriots run the most dominant decade they ever had. They were a better, more consistent winning team than the Chiefs were for this last 10 years. They won more regularly. They won their division by more. They won more games every regular season, that higher winning percentage in the postseason, all of those things. Those are all things I expect to mirror that great here over the next decade because now there's nothing standing in their way. They had to have 4 years of, quality quarterback play, but still incredibly limited.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. You're basically saying, okay, can you win an extra game or two for the 4 years that you missed out on, if you will, where you had Alex Smith instead of Patrick Mahomes? Now you get 10 years of Mahomes instead of just the back half of the decade. And with that back half of the decade, it also still gave you 2 rings. Is split as we are now when it comes to the Chiefs. Yeah, Cody, they can end up winning across the 10 years, let's say 6 more games in the regular season, or 7 more games at least in the regular season than they did in the last one. But it's going to come down to, did they win more than 2 rings? Did they at least win 2 rings during it? That's how it'll be judged. Let's say they only get 1 ring over the next decade. So Mahomes ends up with 3 at that point, but 1 ring.
But they win more at a higher percentage.
Yeah, which seems also crazy to think that they can. But basically, it's just going to be what the final 5 years or so, 6 years have been for 10 years. So naturally, more wins. That's what you're saying. And then the question will be, can they get 1 more ring on top of it? You're asking for 3 rings in a decade, basically.
I think if they got 2 rings, 1 at a higher percentage, it's a better decade. I mean, because...
But are we only judging them on the rings right now? I mean...
That's tough. I mean, because obviously when we go back and look at the Patriots run, we're judging it on all of them. So we know the win percentage, we know the rings. I always go back to Brady because he got 3 rings in his 20s.
Yeah.
And then he got 2 in his 30s, which feels low for Tom Brady. But they had that decade of just like... well, and then he got 2 in his 40s, which seems crazy high. That's way too many for your 40s. But they had that decade where they just didn't have as much. And it's just that I just don't feel like that's even possible for Kansas City. This should be the decade of time when Tom Brady mattered less, if that makes sense.
The one part, though, that I think makes what you're saying maybe difficult for the new decade here, and that is I don't think Andy Reid and Travis Kelce are part of the full decade. So that's a big change. You and I have said for a while, we even 3 years ago, we thought Andy was at that point going to coach another 6 years. Well, that's only 3 more from now. So that, I believe, still is the case. But I don't know if they're 10, okay?
Versus the Patriots who got the Belichick.
So that's the only part that's
run.
different. Like, who's the next coach? What's the relationship like? What advantage do you lose? Guy that's going to go down as one of the all-time greats. And then Travis Kelce, probably not. I know we joke, you and I, back and forth. He's probably not going to be the tight end for the next 10 years.
Not 10 years. Look, even I don't think I'm willing to go that far.
So
Travis Kelce, the tight end at age 43.
So that's the only part where I'll push back. I'm not saying that Mahomes can't win a ring without those guys.
The weapons should be less concerning, right? Because the Patriots did do it with different weapons depending on different time periods. They didn't just go a decade with the same weapons on offense that entire time. It shifted. They had the year when it was Gronk and Hernandez, and they were all that, and then they went. Then Welker shows up, and then it was the Edelman run and whatever, right? They've had, over the course of a decade, had offensive weapons for the better part of 10 years across the board. So I don't feel like that's the case. I don't feel like that's what they're going to run into but the coach thing, that's real. I'll listen to that because it's so hard right now to predict who the next coach of the Chiefs is. Because I have to guess how long Andy Reid is the coach is. And weirdly enough, like the Bill Self-health scare is a quick reminder of how quickly you can rethink how long you think someone's going to be there. And he hasn't had a big health scare. What would happen if he did have a big health scare? And then all of a sudden he has to rethink those things, the same as I'm sure you guys were having a conversation on Thursday and Friday of, does this mean Bill Self isn't going to be coaching as long as Kansas as maybe you thought he was going to be coaching at Kansas? Because they're going to have that same question when he leaves. When he leaves, they've had such an unprecedented run of success right now from just a sheer winning games perspective. There's no way you can assume whoever replaces him is going to win at that rate.
Well, look, not to go down the college basketball route, but look what North Carolina's not a tournament team. The fall
they're passing the NIT to focus on themselves,
Yeah, Kentucky,
learn more about who they are as people.
It was just a couple of years ago where Kentucky was in the NIT because they missed it. Indiana, we know what they've been the last 15, 20 years, not anywhere near what they were prior to that.
I don't think Kansas ever fall off like that, but yes.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's how, to your point, though, just about how impressive it is. And
well, Duke's like a 6 seed. That's not what they were when Coach K had. They weren't a 6 seed college basketball team.
The difference, I do like Duke is playing a lot better right now. We can get back into college basketball later, but they're playing a lot better heading into the tournament at least. But to your point, though, you brought it up because of just Andy Reid. Like, the good news is Mahomes is still part of the equation. That's the one difference between the college basketball example, at least, though, and the NFL example.
And Tom Brady kept winning in the same percentage when he left.
You can lose your coach, and I think it's part of the equation that has to be considered for them to have a better decade. But you would have the best player in the league still at the most important position.
You know what it is? It's really hard because there are so few examples we can even point to. They would say, let's say Andy Reid does leave in 4 years. He's going to be 31. He's still going to be at like peak powers. When's the last quarterback who had to do that? Like a Hall of Fame quarterback. I don't have any examples. Tom Brady did when he was in his 40s, and he still went and won a Super Bowl, so there wasn't a hiccup there. Still put up big numbers. Wasn't a problem, right? So what's the other example? That Troy Aikman won a Super Bowl with a different head coach? It wasn't the peak of his ability, but that team was just loaded. Absolutely loaded. The other dynasties we've talked about, they didn't have to change coaches. It was always the same guys, right? It was Chuck Noll, whether he thinks he's Chuck Noll or not. I still can't believe you invoked that name of all names.
What name should I have invoked?
I don't know. It was a funny one. You could have said Bill Belichick. You could have said like a modern example, but you went all the way back to the 70s with it.
You coached in community college for 5 years. You're not exactly Chuck Noll, okay?
Yeah, it wasn't. You're not exactly Jimmy Johnson or Vince Lombardi or Bill Belichick or anything like that.
Chuck Noll was a very successful.
Of course. Of course. It's an interesting poll.
But I don't feel like
you guys are tiptoeing around ageism, but I'm going to let it slide.
I mentioned Vince Lombardi.
I said tiptoeing. I'm going to let it slide. Don't push it.
Okay.
I just don't feel like, unless I'm missing one, is there an example of a quarterback, a future Hall of Fame quarterback in their early 30s getting a new head coach in the middle of it? Like Aaron Rodgers is probably the closest example. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He got a new coach in his 30s. It has not gone great. But he feels like a completely, like, they don't deserve to be in the same conversation anymore. Like, Patrick Mahomes has already had somehow way better start to his career, but it seems like he's already barreling way towards having a better overall career than Aaron Rodgers, who can't even make up his own damn decision about what the hell he's going to do.
Thinking of Aaron Rodgers.
Whoa, guys.
Huh?
Chargers running back Austin Eckler is requesting permission to speak with other teams about a potential trade, according to Adam Schefter of ESPN. After preliminary talks with the team aimed at a contract extension did not progress. Trouble on the home front in L.A., boys.
Important to note in that tweet, it also says his agent, Cameron Weiss, told ESPN, this is a play.
On the record, which makes it even more legit.
This is now, let's play it out in public a little bit. We're not happy. We're not getting the raise we thought we could get there with the Chargers. And so he's going to go ahead and make sure it's well known and it's out there and see what other opportunities are out there. Now, requesting permission, the Chargers could flat out say, "Yeah, we're not losing you as a playmaker. Sorry, you're under contract, man."
We got Justin Herbert on a rookie deal. We can't be just letting you go.
Is it as simple as the Chargers go? Request denied. Okay.
Moving on. There could be some news here in the next 10 minutes that comes out from somebody else that says, "Yeah, the Chargers will not be granting permission."
But to be fair, this is kind of how the Tyreek Hill trade thing happened, and an hour later he was a Miami Dolphin.
His last 2 years in LA, he had 1,500 total yards and 1,600 total yards, 20 total touchdowns and 18 total touchdowns. That'd feel like kind of a big miss in your offense.
I'd say, well, you know what they do? They go out and they draft Bijan Robinson. They say, okay, well, we found your replacement, and he's way cheaper and younger.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the comparison to Tyreek, remember the Chiefs ultimately gave him permission before we even knew he was seeking a trade, right? This is coming out that Eckler's seeking a trade, and right now we don't know if the Chargers are going to grant it. But yeah, you just laid out the touchdown numbers. That's a huge part of their offense, huge part of Justin Herbert's success. And if you're Brandon Staley, and this is, we all agree, right, make or break year. He already got rid of some guys on stat. He has to make the playoffs.
I'm trying to get fired because of Austin Eckler.
I mean, making the playoffs is not enough. He might have to win multiple playoff games to keep his job the way things are trending. And you lose Austin Eckler, all you're doing is making your job more difficult.
And here's the thing. The worst part about doing this is you absolutely 100% cannot get anywhere close to the value back. What does a running back even get? Like a third? Like Austin Eckler's been tremendous. And somebody be like, we'll give you a second. That's it?
Yeah, maybe. Cody, can we talk about that tweet you just sent out?
I said, oh my. I'm allowed to say that.
You quote tweeted Adam Schefter's tweet and just said, "Oh my."
Yeah.
Do you feel like that was a worthwhile addition to the internet?
It seemed fine. I don't really care.
The internet's better off.
I'm not really worried about it one way or the other. I think all of us send tweets like that. You just like to point out the ones I send out that are related to that.
I don't think I do send out tweets like that. And don't do a deep dive. This is about you right now.
Let's go down the little rabbit hole, shall we?
It's
not about me.
No, this is
about
you.
internet habits.
You're whatabouting. You're whatabouting right now.
I think he gave you crap because it happened during the show. I definitely have done that.
Took time.
I definitely have done the.
It took 2 minutes. It did not take more time.
I definitely have done those tweets as well. It's just more, I think he pointed out because it happened during the show.
Okay, Gold in the middle of the show sent out a tweet that said, tampering time!
See, this is my favorite part.
During commercial break, man.
Yeah, that was during commercial, and my favorite part is
when... It's the same difference.
Gold, my favorite part is when I attack him, and then he attacks you, and
this is how this goes.
Nick's not on the internet.
This is how it goes.
It's going to become a...
This is how it is. It's diversion. We all do this. It's a little bit of diversion.
Oh, man, Nick just...
You're diving deep now, Cody.
Well,
What did you see?
Vegas is more fun anyway. Great tweet, Nick. You know what? A+ stuff. I loved it. That was right after
And there was an emoji in there. I put an emoji in there. Kids like emojis.
It did get 15 likes, so I can't argue that. You know? It's a good point. It's a good point, Nick.
If you get 15 likes on this tweet, I'll apologize. Publicly.
Okay.
So we'll keep an eye on Austin Eckler. I mean, that is not something that anybody expected to be talking about today. This is what's fun about the start of the league year. Also,
no, I had no idea that Austin Eckler wanted out.
Thinking of running backs, you see Frank Gore reportedly is expected to sign with the Eagles. Frank Gore, yeah, that Frank Gore.
Wait, not the junior one, right? The one who's coming out in the draft?
Frank Gore.
Why?
I don't know. I'm not sure, Cody.
That doesn't make any sense. Dude, running backs in general, it is the most... NFL teams make no sense with it. They will both simultaneously not care. Like, the highest offer the Chargers will get is like a second or third round pick for Austin Eckler. And they will simultaneously also draft one in like the top 10 in Bijan Robinson and give a contract to Frank Gore. I'm like, you guys don't make any... The league itself makes no sense at running back. It is always defies logic. Everybody's just doing any kind of thing. There's no set of rules. You just kind of do whatever you want. Sometimes you pay him.
That has to be Frank Gore Jr., right? That has to be Frank Gore Jr.
I don't know.
No, Frank Gore Jr. was just in college.
Well, then who are they talking about?
Dude. Why do you guys think it's not the real Frank Gore?
Because I'm looking up.
Did he retire like 3 years ago?
Yeah, because that's what I looked up, and he's 39 years old. That can't be right. I wonder if it's even that came across the timeline 5 minutes ago. I wonder if that maybe was one of those. We got to be careful of fake Twitter accounts today. Maybe that's what that was as well. Maybe we got already.
Yeah, Frank Gore is.
I hate getting got.
You hate it?
Did you get got on Frank Gore?
That's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering.
Can you?
I'm gonna have to delete that quote tweet I said of that tweet just saying "Wow."
By the way, my tweet already has 17 likes, so if you'd like to go ahead and fire that apology off. Anytime, be good. Starting literally right now, would be fine.
I'm so sorry, Cody. Listen, look at me. I want to make eye contact for this.
Okay.
Because I want it to be sincere, and I want you to know that I mean it. I am so sorry. I am so sorry that I underestimated how many people out there spend their time liking useless, meaningless tweets. And I'm sorry that I made fun of you for your meaningless contribution to this conversation about Austin Eckler. And from the bottom of my heart. Hey, listen, from the bottom of my heart, man. I'm sorry.
Some news that does potentially impact the Chiefs' plans at right tackle and otherwise this offseason. Diana Rossini, her actual Twitter account, says the Chicago Bears are targeting Mike McGlinchey, right tackle, former 49er. Two sides talking, hoping to get a deal done. According to a source of hers, we know the Bears have all kinds of draft capital. That could be an offensive tackle signing for Chicago. So Mike McGlinchey, if you were listing out available tackles, Orlando Brown,
you were talking about that where you could go to right tackle instead of left.
Yeah, so that he was, he's one of the top 3-4 tackles available on the free agent market. Does him nearing a deal, according to Diane Orsini with the Bears, does that create any movement for Andrew Wiley, down the road here? Does that create movement for even Orlando Brown Jr.? Chicago Bears, we're going to be probably mentioning the Bears quite a bit today in the next couple of days, given the fact they still have $75 million in cap space.
And a desperate need to try to surround that team with talent so they can find out if they have anything with Justin Fields. Like, that's their situation because they just traded the number 1 pick, as we well know, and added a weapon, like an actual, semi-capable, probably bottom end number 1, but number 1 wide receiver. They got to add running back and tight end and kind of everything. Feels like the Bears will be the most active team. I did like the competing graphics. It was like, hey, the last 7 years in a row, the team that spent the most in free agency, which the Bears are clearly going to be that, have had an average of 2.5, 3 wins from their total the year before. The following year, they lose them all. They lose that exact same amount the following year. So in year 2, they are just right back to where they were. It never helps them in the long run. It buys you some short-term stuff, but it's like you have to get all of them in order for it to make some sense, don't you? Otherwise, it just doesn't track. None of it makes sense in the add up.
Are you guys buying some of the reporting? As we know, the decision for Aaron Rodgers could happen at any time. His future, whether he's going to stay with the Packers, whether he's going to retire, whether he's going to go to the Jets. I think, to me, it's either the Jets or retirement based off of Mark Murphy, who's the team president there with the Packers over the weekend, was talking about Rodgers, and he used it in the past tense. He said, he said, Brett Favre had a great career here. He said, Aaron Rodgers had a great career here. Like, when you're already talking in the past tense, and it means he knows that he's not going to be in Green Bay. It's just whether or not he retires.
Leverage, didn't he?
But if you're Rodgers, are you going to do what you said you weren't going to do? You said this offseason that you weren't going to stick around and wait deep into March for everybody. Well, now the league year is basically opening up on Wednesday and technically today to a certain extent. So where are you going to go? Are you going to make your decision? Do you believe the report that the Jets and Packers are right now clueless as to what Aaron Rodgers is going to do, or do you think the Jets actually have a good feel? There were all kinds of reports the Jets were feeling like that they were optimistic and all this. I still think he's going to the Jets. I still think he's starting for the Jets week 1.
I think they think that, like they're hoping for that, but I don't think they actually know. Aaron Rodgers is one of the few cases, Gold, where I would say there might be 2 people on this earth who know which way he's actually leaning, but they just feel like the conversations went well, because when all the national reporters come together in a circle and start saying, hey, both the Jets and the Packers have not heard from Aaron Rodgers and don't know what he's going to do, I believe it. I believe that they don't know which way this thing is going to go.
I mean, you got so many decisions to be made. Like, this is the whole idea. Stop holding these. It drives me crazy.
It hurts you. Is the problem.
Driving these franchises hostage. The Jets can't make future decisions until they know, and the Packers can't until they know. Make up your mind. Maybe he will in the next 30 minutes, Cody. Maybe he will later on today, and the point will be moot. But I just can't stand the notion of Aaron Rodgers dragging this thing out for another couple days or another week.
The thing I don't understand is it legitimately hurts himself. Like, he thinks sometimes he's just like, oh, what do these teams need to know more? Yeah. No, it actually impacts you. If you agree to go to the Jets now, they know how much they have to pay you. They know what draft pick compensation they're giving up to get you. That means they know what they can do in order to sign free agents, target certain players in the draft, things that help you. They can put things in place that are likely to make you a better team. The Packers know that if they pay you, there's a lot less they can do in the spending department. They might want to trade other player. What if they want to trade players? Well, even if Aaron Rodgers isn't with us this year, he's not going to be with us this year. He's not going to be with us next year because by then we can get out of the contract. So we're going to start making these moves a year in advance. And they start shipping. Maybe they'd make a different decision if they knew it. But they're already talking. That was crazy. Over the weekend, he was legitimately talking like Aaron Rodgers was long gone. To give up that amount of leverage tells you how little they want him to be there. They've made it. And honestly, just pull the hell out of the draft pick. Be like, look, you want like a third or like, what are you looking for here to get Aaron Rodgers? I know there's still a basement before anybody would agree, but they want him so far gone out of Green Bay. Hall of Famer, and he's getting run out of town. Not because of poor performance even necessarily, just because of this attitude stuff is what it feels like. He was an MVP 2 years ago and he was MVP 2 of the last 3 years.
It's the right move for the Packers to want to move on anyway. Like, take the off-field stuff away. Who cares? On the field, though, looking at your division that you're in, if you're Green Bay, where the Lions are heading, Bears are trying to do what the Vikings have been in the last year now, and I think still will be in 2023. Hit the somewhat of a reset button and set yourself up for the future better without Aaron Rodgers. Coming up next, though, it's the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Yeah, the legal tampering window is opened up. What moves do we expect the Chiefs to actually make over the next 24 to 78 hours? 2 hours. We'll do that next.
You're listening to Cody and Gold, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Subscribe and download all new episodes of Nick's Waving in the Wheat podcast, released every Thursday on the 435 Podcast Network and the Odyssey app.
BetMGM is offering college basketball fans a chance at winning big. Really, really big. The BetMGM March Matchups $10 million Perfect Bracket Challenge is free to play and fun to dream about, and it's only on the king of sportsbooks. Pick a perfect bracket, and you'll be the legend that takes home the $10 million grand prize. Fall a little short, the player with the most correct picks for the entire tournament wins a guaranteed top prize of $100,000. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly and offer resources to help you make appropriate choices. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions and complete details. Must be 21 years of age or older to enter. Kansas only. New and existing customers offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Do you feel uneasy? Irritable? Does your home internet bill give you anxiety or cause you to make angry noises? You may be suffering from a serious condition known as UPH, unexpected price hikes.
It could happen to anyone, even you. You could get stuck paying more than you expected.
But now there's a solution to put an end to your suffering. T-Mobile, $50 a month, and it comes with T-Mobile's Price Lock Guarantee. That means they won't raise your home internet rate ever.
Side effects include feelings of joy when you receive your bill, no annual contracts, and no monthly fees.
Try T-Mobile home internet for just $50 a month with autopay. Plus, get Price Lock Guarantee and put an end to the fear of unexpected price hikes today.
They won't raise my internet rates? Thanks, T-Mobile.
Check availability at T-Mobile.com/5G internet.
Price Lock exclusions like taxes, fees, select promos, and third-party services apply. Qualifying credit and service required. Regulatory fees included in $50 price for qualified accounts, plus $5 per month without autopay.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Do you remember how cold it got this winter? Well, it was a chilly one. And if you notice the cold air pouring through those old leaky windows, well, guess what? When it gets hot this summer, the exact opposite is going to happen. All that cool air is going to escape through those leaky windows, and that hot air is going to come in. So I'm telling you right now to replace those old windows and keep your house cool this summer with the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs over at Window World. Their windows are one of 2 windows with a good housekeeping seal of approval, a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And right now, Window World is offering 18 months same as cash financing with approved credit. So pick up the phone right now and call this number for a free home estimate. 816-799-0820. And they can show you how they are simply the best for less. Remember this phone number, 816-799-0820. Or check out the website, windowworld.com.
This March, take your first shot at college hoops with FanDuel Sportsbook and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 on the bracket and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting everything from the money line to point spreads to that 5 versus 12 seed matchup you've been eyeing. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. There's no better place to bet the tournament than FanDuel Sportsbook. Sign up today by going to FanDuel.com/win and make every moment more with FanDuel all tournament long.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager. Only $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable sportsbook bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342 Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit KSGamblingHelp.com Kansas. 1-877-770 stop Louisiana. Visit MDGamblingHelp.org in Maryland. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. 1-800-522-4700 Wyoming or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net West Virginia.
Having unexpected car trouble or just in a car accident? You need Jay's Southland Tow Service. They have 20 years of experience and service the KC metro area. They specialize in light, medium, and heavy duty, also in commercial transport and construction equipment. Keep this number handy, 816-779-4TOW, or go to southlandtow.com. Use the tow service trusted police, Jay's Southland Tow. There's nothing they can't do, so be in the know and use Jay's Southland Tow.
Postal Service, we're reinventing our network to help keep your business moving. With new shipping options to deliver better value, greater flexibility to conveniently reach your customers, more confident shipping with new informed delivery features, and new electric vehicles for a cleaner, brighter future. Fast, reliable, perfectly orchestrated. The United States Postal Service. Deliver in America. Learn more at USPS.com/moving forward.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket, just like our customer, Christine.
I'm a director and a performer. I got a free phone from Cricket, and I've used it to live stream 73 of my shows on social media.
How do you like it?
It's fabulous!
Switch to Cricket and get a free Samsung Galaxy A14 5G. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Real customer paid for testimonial. Limited time. Must bring your number to Cricket on a $60 a month. First month service charge and tax due at sale. Phone streams video and SD. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. Fees, terms, and other restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Guys, fellas, men, are you Roman ready for the weekend? Right now, generic Viagra, aka Sildenafil, is just $4 per dose at Roman. Just complete a free online visit with a U.S. licensed healthcare professional. If medication is appropriate, Roman sends what you need in discreet packaging with free 2-day shipping. Generic Viagra from $4 at Roman. Go to ro.co/Viagra. Do it today and get 20% off your entire first order. That's ro.co/Viagra.
Nature Valley Crunchy Bars are the snack for out there. You know, the place where you hear sounds like this. And this. Oh, and this. Nature Valley. Life happens out there.
Partly sunny today and chilly with a high of 39.
Weather brought to you by Auto Trader. Shop millions of new cars, used cars, and electric cars on Auto Trader and find your 1 in a million car. Finally, it's easy. Auto Trader.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
This report is brought to you by Charles River Labs. Discover the difference. This is your moment. Charles River Labs is a visionary leader in the development and delivery of advanced drug therapies. Be part of a team that is focused on improving global health while providing a culture of teamwork, diversity, and sustainability. This is your moment. Opening soon in Overland Park. Learn more at jobs.criver.com.
Coverage of opening day is brought to you by the KCKPD, accepting applications for new and experienced law enforcement officers. KCKPD.org for more information. Equal opportunity employer.
Chiefs Kingdom. This is Mitch Holtis, and welcome into the Chiefs Red Half Hour on Cody and Gold. Every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner, the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
Has panic set in yet, guys? It's been 34 minutes, and the Chiefs haven't done a damn thing.
I'm more worried about the electrical fire that might be taking place.
Or the diesel fumes.
All of a sudden, Gold's like, there's an overwhelming, powerful smell of, like, diesel gas in here.
Yeah,
Is that bad?
Yeah, it's good to get this on the record now. That way, when that class action lawsuit goes through, that we'll have audio evidence.
If we get even more slap happy than this show gets... Normally, we're going to need you to contact a doctor immediately. Make sure they know that we might need medical assistance.
It definitely. I think diesel
pungent.
diesel is the correct scent that we are describing.
Seems concerning.
I think that's it. I don't know why the generator would be on. I'm pretty sure the power around the area is intact, so I don't know why the generator would be running, but it definitely smells like diesel fumes in the building, which is, it's keeping it warm, though, in here. It's great. It's another way to, just go ahead and move the fumes back into the building. It's a great strategy.
Here's the good news. We know that engineering likes to listen to these shows sometimes. So if you are listening this time,
they're going to hate us.
Can you let us know if we're on the generator?
They're going to hate us. And like you guys.
Filtering up the vents. That's more of a maintenance thing, but
yeah.
I don't know if maintenance listens to the show.
It is the Chiefs Red Half Hour. As I mentioned, though, man, what the hell's going on? It's been 36 minutes, and the Chiefs haven't done anything. This is unacceptable. No plan in place. No. Look, what can happen still today? What can happen? That's the one that feels like, based off of the Diana Rossini report, that Mike McGlinchey is talking with the Bears, and they think a deal could happen there. This is the time where Orlando Brown Jr. is going to find out. Can he get the dollar amount that he thinks he can get on the open market? Right now, it is legal for you to go find out. We all know there have been probably conversations happening well before that. And if you're the Chiefs, this is also the time frame for you. Let's say Orlando Brown Jr. can't get the money as they're talking. This is your chance to still try to maybe get something done with him. That is the biggest move in the next 24 hours, 48 hours that I think you're going to get clarity on for the Chiefs' future at left tackle, because it's big, if somehow they come together on a long-term deal. That's huge. But if not, for sure, you got to explore your own free agent options and the draft, but really your own free agent options.
Well, they want a long-term option. They've made that very clear.
I also think you got to keep an eye on the Aaron Rodgers situation. We just got done talking about that. What Aaron Rodgers does might play a role in whether, someone that's had some injury history, but David Bakhtiari, what's his availability via trade? If Aaron Rodgers retires,
they're starting over anyway.
The Packers, you got to move on from. If Aaron Rodgers gets traded, do they package that deal with the Jets, or do they move Bakhtiari elsewhere, or do they cut him? I think everything's on the table there, but the offensive line, the left tackle issue is the one I expect to get the news on, and then maybe a Juju Smith-Schuster contract today or tomorrow, if he actually is coming back to Kansas City.
The Orlando Brown one is obviously the most interesting, but the Juju one might move even faster, because at least there aren't left tackles available, because there never are. We've talked about this. But there are quite a few good right tackles available. So for teams immediately looking for offensive line help who are picking closer to the top end of the draft, okay, that would qualify for most teams who are looking for left tackle help. They'll have some options available to them. So to me, it's, if you're going that route, then, you would think Orlando Brown Jr.'s got to get done in these first 2 days. But, dude, there are no wide receivers. Juju, McCole Hardman, as much as all the other guys, Juan Thornhill and Saunders, I'm not nearly as worried about whether or not that's going to be the case. I'm more concerned about whether or not this is going to be it. By the way, Jason Kelce has officially announced that he is talking over with his wife and friends. He's decided to return for another year with the Philadelphia Eagles. And, it finished with, I ain't effing done yet, which is, we can appreciate. But Jason Kelce is coming back to the Eagles.
Elsewhere, the Ravens could still go back to Baltimore. The Ravens moving on from Calais Campbell, so a veteran available on the open market. They've actually just put out on their Twitter account that they've released.
How old is he?
Him.
36.
Is that what it is now, or what he is now?
If you want your Dunlap for 1 year, fine. 5.5 sacks last year.
They did this because they freed up
Carlos
7.
Dunlap, but older.
How old is he?
Campbell had 6 sacks last year, 34 pressures for the Baltimore Ravens. Carlos Dunlap's 34, isn't he? Yeah.
That's close enough. 34, 36.
Yeah, 34 years old for Carlos Dunlap.
Similar production numbers. That's really what you're looking for. If you're looking for a 5 or 6 sack player, and
that's a name to watch. Definitely a name to watch. When you lose Frank and you lost Carlos Dunlap, and I've said it over and over. Carlos Dunlap, we'll find out if he wants to play football still, and if he does, it's probably another June or July type of addition. It's the Melvin Ingram thing all over again. It's what Carlos Dunlap did last year for the Chiefs. He didn't sign in March with the Chiefs.
You can't find star defensive ends, but if you're looking for aging veteran with 5 sack potential defensive end, those players actually are available every year. The Chiefs have proven that they're available every year. I don't know that I'm ever married to one in particular, right? I don't know that I'm ever it's got to be Dunlap, or it's got to be Calais Campbell, or it's got to be these players in general. But those are the kind of moves, like we've said, not what these first few days are. These first are very simply Orlando Brown Jr. and Juju Smith-Schuster, because those are the only two moves that are going to draw your off-season or draft stuff might go. Ones, yeah, fine. Yeah, okay. You're going to move on. You got to find a veteran defensive lineman, or you got a third safety. Maybe you find in the draft. Maybe it's free agency. But the only two that have a huge swing in that is those two players. And they're likely to go, we would think, by Wednesday at the latest, Thursday at the latest, right? If the tampering period is now till Wednesday.
Right. Technically things aren't official till Wednesday at noon, but we just know how this works. All of a sudden, if there's a report that so-and-so is expected to sign with whatever, usually, not all the time, but 90% of the time, that's the deal. That's the location that they end up actually signing with. I still don't think, maybe you guys have changed based off of seeing where the cap situation is for the Chiefs, but I don't think we're in for like this big surprise splash signing by Kansas City. I think it's what we've discussed. It's finding out whether they're retaining or moving on from Orlando Brown Jr. officially or not. It's finding out if they were able to come to terms on a deal with Juju Smith-Schuster. Like I don't, and if they can't for Juju, then is it another wide receiver that's replacing him, like a Lazard or something? But I don't think I don't believe there's going to be the surprise. Wow, they went out and spent huge money on blank player that we didn't expect, unless it is directly replacing one of the two guys I just mentioned.
I feel good, at least a little bit better about after reading Albert Breer's article this morning about Orlando Brown Jr. and the possibility of his contract or what might be available for him because of this. The same thing we talked about when they traded for him. There weren't that many teams in the NFL who wanted to make him a left tackle. That's why Baltimore ended up trading him to Kansas City, because they had the best offer and they were willing to make him a left tackle, so it made sense. It's clear in the article that he still, shockingly, would like to be a left tackle, no matter, even if they were going to pay him left tackle money but put him at right. He doesn't want to be a right tackle. He wants to play the left side. Chiefs are comfortable playing with the left side, but there are only a handful of teams that want to do that anyway. And then in addition to that, way more NFL teams run this Kyle Shanahan-style offensive line play, which requires athletic, smaller left tackles versus the big-bodied ones like Orlando Brown, the slower-moving ones like Orlando Brown is a little bit, which means there aren't that many teams you're competing with Orlando Brown Jr. You're just not. It's not half the league. It's not two-thirds of the league. It's nothing like that. It is a small collection of teams you're competing with, which means I still think that the number can only get so high on Orlando Brown Jr., which is why the Chiefs were willing to even take this risk in the first place. I think the whole reason they're talk to other teams, because they felt very confident the number they were offering was as high as anybody was going to go.
So have you changed? Remember last Monday, I was at a 25% chance that he could still get a long-term deal done with the Chiefs. It's probably down to 15 or 20% max at this point for me. It sounded, based on what you just said, it sounds like you're up from 5.
I was more like 5%, because I told you it would be 5% if we got to Monday and it hadn't happened, which it's now Monday and it's 11 o'clock and free agency is here. But I'm more like 10 or 15 probably from where I was, just because the more I thought about it, the less there are that many teams who are interested in him. He has a limited market. This to me is like the way people talk about Juju Smith-Schuster's market. Except for Juju Smith-Schuster's market is like every team in the NFL could use a pass-catching wide receiver who goes over the middle for 70 catches a year. Most teams, not every, but 20 teams. And with Orlando Brown Jr., you might be competing against 3 or 4 teams. And there should be some benefit to coming back here.
I will say so far in the 43 minutes or whatever that the window's been opened up, it's been offensive linemen that have been signing or expected to sign.
Yeah, when they say Mike McGlinchey is in serious conversations, that's telling you that they're expecting that deal to get
done. Been him, right tackle, reportedly maybe going to sign with the Bears. It's been the extension for the guard for the Falcons, and it's been just now in the last couple of minutes the Broncos reportedly are signing former Ravens guard was it Ben Powers, I think it is, or whatever. So that's 3, if not 4 potential offensive lineman type of signings that are actually happening. So for whatever reason, it's been guards and tackles that have been kind of rumored here in the early going.
By the way, if you needed any more evidence that what we were talking about the Chiefs needing to draft a guard, remember, you and I were both like, they're taking a guard in the first 4 rounds. The Tampa Bay guard just got $21 million a year. You can
the Falcons, right?
The Falcons, yeah. You cannot pay a left tackle and a center and a guard that much money combined. They're going to pay the left tackle. They've made that very clear, whether it be this guy or the next time. And look, maybe we're wrong, and maybe it is Trey Smith they're going to pay and not Creed Humphrey. But they're not paying 3 guys in the offensive line simultaneously that amount of money. If guards all of a sudden are $21 million a year, that's $5 million more a year on average than Joe Tooney got, which made him the highest paid guard. So that number is control again. You have other needs outside guards. So it's like, God, you really do. Draft in a month and a half now. In a month and a half, you're gonna have to target guard. Like that's going to have to be a position that you start at, even though it's not fun because they might not get in the field very much.
Receiver, Juju Smith-Schuster, how they play out over the next day or two. There was a workout, and the Chiefs were one of the teams involved, in particular, that attended a workout for Odell Beckham Jr. There was a time, November and December, where everybody thought he was going to sign just in time for the playoffs. Cowboys brought him in for a workout. They realized, he's still not recovered, and he ended up not playing at all last season. I still, for the right price, that's always the key, on a off-season flyer for 1 year would be interested. But if there's 12 teams at the workout, and let's say there ends up being 6 that have interest, and Odell Beckham Jr., a guy that's in his 30s now, a guy that's coming off another ACL injury, missed an entire football season, he probably wants guaranteed money because everybody does, but it would have to be a heavily incentive-laden contract, something where it's 4 or 5, maybe 6 guaranteed, and incentives, Cody, could bump it up to $13 million. But if he's hoping to get 10 or 12 with incentives to get to that 18 or 20, then I'm out. Then I have zero interest in someone coming off of a torn ACL in a missed entirety of 2022.
Pay him $15 million. Isn't this the Juju Schuster last year?
There's rumblings. There's a report, and probably strictly from his agent, that he thinks he can get $20 million a year. Teams would be insane. Would be insane to do it. That clearly came from his agent.
Sure.
He's not getting $20 million a year, so that's ridiculous.
His head, because no NFL team.
Maybe with incentives, somebody's willing to do it, though.
Fine, but the incentives are going to be bonkers.
12 to get to 20.
Look, it took Juju Smith-Schuster's deal got up to $10 million. Remember, it was a $3.5 million base. So I mean, it was it was way more in incentives, and some of those incentives were like $1 million to win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So if Odell Beckham wants $12 million, but 8 of it is in incentives where it's like you get 80 catches, or you play 15 games, or you win the AFC title game, or win the Super. Fine, I'll pay him out. I'll move the money down the road. It sucks to keep pushing it down, but if you have to pay it and you pay the price in the future, then you don't really care. Versus like what the Browns are doing, for instance, with Deshaun Watson's contract. They just moved his money around. He's going to be a cap hit of over $60 million each of the next 3 years after this one. So it's like you can screw yourself by doing these like reworked, moved around contracts. But Odell Beckham, I mean, are you saying when I kick the tires? That old phrase?
Absolutely.
Sure, why not? That's why they were one of the teams who showed up to his workout. He still has limited interest. It's not like 2/3 of the league showed up.
Well, it's weird. 12 teams. The Cowboys, who were about to sign him this past year, were not one of the 12. So, you know,
maybe they feel like they got a good handle on
right. So it's kind of interesting to see how that plays out. Thinking of wide receivers, and maybe there could be a couple new names on the market. Dan Graziano, who Michael Massey's a huge fan of, as we learned while we were on Radio Row. He just tweeted out, sources with multiple teams believe the Broncos could trade a wide receiver. Excuse me. Denver has had talks with Cortland Sutton, Judy, and KJ Hamler.
Cortland Sutton sent out a tweet this weekend that said, I just want to be somewhere where I'm appreciated. He sounded like somebody in the middle of a breakup.
I have to tell you guys something.
It went on to say real quick, teams say the Broncos are asking high prices, not dumping. Jerry Jeudy's been rumored for a while. The one that would be surprising to me is Cortland Sutton. Like Jerry Jeudy, at this point, has not developed into what everybody thought he was going to be.
So I have to tell you guys something.
Okay, yeah, you were scouting the Broncos for us.
Well, I forgot to tell you this.
Oh, boy.
Last week. And now I wish I would have, because it doesn't have as much weight as it does now. But last week, I had a dream. I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up. You guys can laugh at me. I'm not making this up.
It does feel out of nowhere, so it feels like you're telling the truth.
I had a dream last week that the Chiefs traded for Cotton.
I mean,
I'm not saying I want it. I'm just saying I had a dream. Some would call it a premonition. That the Chiefs traded for Cortland Sutton.
But they haven't. You can't really say it's like if it happens, then I think it carries a ton of weight for you.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I just
want us to know ahead of time
for posturing's sake.
Okay.
I had a dream. I'm not even saying I want it or I believe it will happen or it should happen. I'm just saying I had a dream. That was it.
They're never gonna trade with the Chiefs.
Yeah. Don't analyze my dreams, man.
This is just the actual signing, not about your dreams.
Then what happened the rest of the dream after they traded for him?
Well, I think that was it. There was other stuff that happened in my dream, not football related.
Like?
I don't know, something sexual.
Like?
With Cortland Sutton or somebody else?
I think it was 2 chicks.
It was you or Cortland Sutton with 2 chicks?
Me.
Oh. This whole thing's definitely not happening now. The whole thing's fake. The whole thing's fake. The whole thing's fake. The whole thing is fake.
By the way, is he a discount by wide receiver standards? He signed a 4-year, $60 million extension. So he's a cap hit of for the acquiring team, 15 to 18 million over there.
Yeah,
that's pretty cheap by wide receiver standards.
I don't think Cortland Sutton will get moved. I think Jerry Jeudy, though, seems like the guy, because that's been rumored a lot longer than the Cortland Sutton stuff or the
Sutton
dreams.
sent out a tweet this weekend that said, "I wish I was somewhere that appreciated me."
Right, but if you're Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, if you're Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, as much as we knock Russ has become, you still got to have some weapons for the guy. You're gonna trade Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. Who the hell is he throwing the football to next year?
KJ Hamler.
Yeah. What's they don't have any draft. They barely have any draft picks.
They traded Noah Fant, right?
Well, that was the Russell Wilson trade.
Oh, that was the Russell.
he's in Seattle. But you got to have some weapons for the guy.
With those picks, they don't have.
Yeah, exactly. Don't have any picks.
Dude, they're screwed. They're just screwed. That's it. The Broncos are screwed. This is why they should be. And here's the thing. They should be trying to fix their problem for after Russell Wilson. How are you going to fix it with him? He's owed a ton of money, and he was no good. The only choice is for one more year, just try, right? One more year, keep all these guys here.
I think that's what they're going to do.
Or start planning your exit strategy for a couple of years from now.
I don't think you can do that because that's 3+ years. That's still 3 years down the road, realistically, with the way the Russ contract is structured. They have to make this thing work in the next 2 years. They bring in Sean Payton. It was, I get the hire. I think still a desperate type of hire, just considering the circumstances, but I get it. And your hope is, can you do enough to where Russell Wilson is the 15th to 20th best quarterback? And that would be a hell of a turnaround. And again, now Ian Rappaport thinking of the Broncos now acting like it's not totally official, but the Broncos are giving guard Ben Powers from the Ravens a 4-year, $52 million deal, $28.5 million guaranteed. Source said that's from now just about every national reporter, Jeremy Fowler and Ian Rappaport.
It's all in a group chat or what?
Offensive linemen, man. All offensive linemen are signing right now. We're still waiting to find out if anything happens with Orlando Brown Jr. today.
Do you think you get to rank who gets the text first?
Oh, I bet you it's just a mass text.
And just some people are faster at typing.
No, I don't think it's a mass text. I think it is the same text, copy and pasted to everyone. So somebody has to get it first.
Somebody's getting it 20 seconds earlier, and they get it out.
Can't they just BCC these people? I mean,
not on a text though, right?
They just fire off an email.
You think they're sending emails to each other?
Dude, it's what they're pasting?
Yeah.
A text into 40 people?
I think it's far more likely they're doing what Nick's saying than I don't think let's say the agent of Ben Powers is sending an email out to a bunch of.
Well, you know what though? To Cody's point, it would take longer to do the text route.
Way longer.
But you think in email, that seems slower. They actually I feel like texting with guys, not emailing guys.
I think it's probably both.
You think it's a combo?
I think it's probably.
We need to
both.
get to. We'll have to ask. We'll have to get Shefty on the phone. Find out.
Do you want me to give him a call?
We know he has.
Is he busy?
We know he buys gifts for agents and stuff for days like today. We know that, right?
What kind of gifts does he buy?
He says he is part of his budget of the year. He spends thousands of dollars on gifts for executives and agents because it's part of his relationship, how he gets scoops. So basically, and then Ariane Foster was on one of the Barstool podcasts last week and says he thinks Schefter pays for his scoops, which I guess the gift thing is maybe what he's talking about. But
I mean, because there was a whole article up not that long ago about the wild world of trying to be the scoop guy, right?
Also, it's only an hour in, not even a full hour in, but the fact that Jason Kelsey could announce his decision to stay, but Aaron Rodgers can't figure it out is absolutely ridiculous.
Do we all have one friend who just works on their own time? Your house could be on fire and you'd be like, I need you over here right now to help me put my house out. It is on fire. Be like, I'll be there in 20. And then 67 minutes later, rolling. Sorry, I hung up.
Speaking of
a
house is being on fire.
Yeah, what about the diesel smell?
It's getting worse.
Someone texted it in, and then I do remember as I walked in the building, you probably noticed this. Cody, I don't know if they were here yet when you got in. They're redoing, there was a huge air conditioning unit or whatever, HVAC unit on a trailer out there, and I think there was a crane. I think they're putting a brand new HVAC system in.
Okay,
And
but
so-
should we be concerned that the gas is filling up our studio?
I don't like that. I mean,
I don't like
I
it either, but
understand
then
the
you're
answer.
asking
I
what
don't feel
they're-
better about it.
I don't
though.
feel better, but I think that's actually what's happening. So I don't know if that means the generator had to kick on while they were replacing something, or like Cody said, they decided, hey, HVAC, let's just funnel diesel right into the studios.
Let's see if these shows get interesting or weird.
Let's see if these shows get interesting.
Are you going to be okay? Are you worried about your health yet?
Yes.
Just asking. No. Seems concerning.
Coming up next, we'll get to opening. Back into where things are at for March Madness. Some controversy involving seeding, but an opportunity for K-State and Missouri later on this week.
There's Kelsey to the end zone. Cody and Gold brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Don't miss the Chiefs Red Half Hour every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
If you've been listening to the show recently, you guys know we were talking about just the rain in the area. We've all experienced that here in Kansas City. And Cody and I were talking about wearing glasses in the rain, both from a driving standpoint and just wearing them in general. As someone that used to wear glasses until I called my friends at Dury Vision, it was annoying. You get sprinkles on your glasses. You're right. You have to quickly wipe off your glasses. If it was a downpour, it was even worse. And when you're driving and you see it's raining and then you couple the lights, the reflection, your glasses, rain, it's just a bad combination, one that maybe even makes you feel a little unsafe and uncomfortable. I don't have to worry about that anymore because I called my friends at Dury Vision. I went in for my free consultation, and just a couple days later, I had my LASIK procedure. And now, not only do I see better than I ever have before, but I sure as heck am not worried about driving in the rain and glasses being a deterrent anymore. I chose Dury because simply they're the best in Kansas City. Give Dr. Lindquist and his staff a call, 913-491-3330, or go online to DuryVision.com and tell them Gold from 610 sent.
This March, take a shot at college hoops with a no-sweat bet on FanDuel Sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or already have an account. Right now, all customers can tough the tourney with a no-sweat bet. Just sign into your FanDuel Sportsbook account to claim yours today. Or if you're new to FanDuel, go to FanDuel.com/610Bob to get in on the action. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to that 5 versus 12 seed that you've been eyeing. All on an app that is safe, secure, and super easy to use. There's no better place to bet the tournament than FanDuel. FanDuel.com/610Bob to join now, or sign into your FanDuel Sportsbook account and claim your no-sweat bet today. Make every moment more with FanDuel Sportsbook, the official partner of 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus bet $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
This March, take your first shot at college hoops with FanDuel Sportsbook and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 on the bracket and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you could spend betting everything from the money line to point spreads to that 5 versus 12 seed matchup you've been eyeing. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. There's no better place to bet the tournament than FanDuel Sportsbook. Sign up today by going to FanDuel.com/win and make every moment more with FanDuel all tournament long.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager. Only $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable sportsbook bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at Sportsbook. FanDuel is offering sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342 Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com Kansas. 1-877-770-STOP Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. 1-800-522-4700 Wyoming or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net West Virginia.
You don't have to be officially engaged to start looking at engagement rings together. I'm a jewelry consultant here at Chain Company, and we have couples come in all the time to see our great selection. A lot of them like to pick out their top 3 rings. They make it a date, and it's fun. With so many options to create a one-of-a-kind ring, you may not know where to start, and that's where we come in. We're here to help. Chain Company has over 1,000 engagement rings in every price range, from sparkling pave styles to elaborate halo designs. High-quality rings in yellow gold, white gold, rose gold, and platinum. For your center stone, Shane Company offers all shapes and sizes of natural diamonds, lab-grown diamonds, and a broad spectrum of natural, colorful gemstones, from over a dozen colors to rubies, peach morganite, and more. Come see us at Shane Company today and have some fun picking out your engagement ring together.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Coverage of opening day is brought to you by the KCKPD, accepting applications. Experienced law enforcement officer, kckpd.org for more information. Equal opportunity employer.
I'm Rex with KC Real Estate Buyers, and I buy houses for cash. If you want to sell your home fast and easy without a realtor and save thousands in commissions and closing costs, call me today at 816-330-6000. You can sell me your home in as little as 3 days or on your time frame, and I guarantee to make you a fair and honest offer. My home buying process is simple. In fact, I can make you a cash offer right over the phone. Do you have a home that needs a lot of work? Did you inherit a house you don't want? No problem. I can buy your home no matter the condition, the situation, or location. And remember, there are no questions or costs. If you want to sell your home fast and easy, I'll buy it. Call me today for a free offer, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000. I'm Rex with KC Real Estate Buyers, and I look forward to working with you. 816-330-6000. Or visit our website at rexbuyskc.com. rexbuyskc.com.
Is it time to update your kitchen or bathroom? The team at Aspire Kitchen and Bath can help. They'll listen to your ideas and put together the perfect plan, fit your dream and your budget. Set up no-cost, hassle-free consultation today at AspireKitchenandBath.com.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you ordered a new air filter for your car. You try to install it, but it doesn't fit. So you take a little bit off the sides. What, still doesn't fit? Well, you try to sit on it. Or get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's going to fit. Air filters, brakes, headlights, over 122 million parts. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
What do you mean he went searching for fresher powder? We have full classes today.
Instructor down at Vesper Ski School.
Toward each other to snowplow, honey, not away.
She needs more ski instructors to slalom through the day-to-day.
Pizza, fries. Whoa, Braley, no, pizza.
Indeed can help her great people fast.
I need.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Meadows.
Don't miss Vern's Hot Stove every Thursday night live from spring training starting at 6 o'clock on your home for Royals baseball, 610 Sports Radio. KKNC City WDAF to Liberty and Odyssey Station.
What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on what's trending, the NFL legal tampering window. Been open for about an hour or so. No news on the Chiefs front yet. We'll certainly continue to discuss that in a couple of days. Couple notable signings or reports least out there. One involving the AFC West LA Chargers. That's Austin Eckler. There's a report that Austin Eckler and his agent have asked permission to seek a trade away from the LA Chargers. They're trying to get a new contract out there. He only has 1 year, I believe, left on his contract, $5 million or so, but wants some more money. He certainly has been one of the more dynamic running backs, but then you run into that problem. He does play running back, right? And so how many running backs get a third decent-sized contract? I think that's what he is finding out. But something to watch. Austin Eckler is part of that offense for the Chargers. Other than a couple offensive linemen that have signed today. The one that maybe has the most direct impact, Cody, on the Chiefs is the report nearing a deal with the Bears is Mike McGlinchey. So right tackle, could have been a right tackle option for Kansas City. Also, the Bears, a destination for Orlando Brown Jr. But so far, everything very quiet on the Chiefs' first hour.
As we would expect, right? They're not going to be the loudest team, but it's also just been kind of quiet in general, I feel like, in the first hour. Maybe I'm mistaken.
Well, just wait for the Rodgers news. That's what we're doing, right?
Yeah, we'll see. Next up on What's Trending, we know all three locals will be heading to the NCAA tournament. They'll play Thursday and Friday. Missouri will tip off first. They'll take on Utah State at 12:40. Kansas will be at 1 o'clock that day, and then K-State later that night. So you're going to get a good taste of it. We're going to be in the middle of the day on Thursday, obviously, for some of these games. Right now, the only underdog is Missouri. who's currently a 1.5 underdog last I saw.
He's up to 2.5. Maybe
Okay.
it went back down, but yeah.
Against Utah State. Obviously, Kansas is a better than 20-point favorite, and Montana State is a over 10-point dog right now to Kansas State. So we'll get a good idea about where these teams are. None of them obviously made the Midwest region, which means none of them would play in Kansas City if they were to make the Sweet 16.
We'll talk more about the seeding, how it played out, and where KU, K-State, and Missouri in particular all ended up, and their path to Houston for the Final Four coming up in just a little bit. Next up on What's Trending, Jeff Goodman reporting, and now it's official from the university, that Ole Miss has hired former Texas Longhorn head coach Chris Beard. That is now a done deal. Of course, he was fired, let go by Texas after being initially charged, right, with domestic violence allegations, and those have been dropped, and now he's going to be a head coach in the SEC. There was a report that had come out from the SEC tournament down in Nashville that some of the SEC schools, Cody, were upset with the news that they were going to hire Chris Beard because of the message it sends. Get over yourselves. The rest of the don't stop lying to yourselves as well. The rest of the SEC, you're not really mad about the message it sends. You're mad because Chris Beard's getting hired in your conference.
Weren't there some questions?
These other schools that if they had openings would have hired Chris Beard as well. So the idea that if you're, let's say, someone at Kentucky or Tennessee and you're upset with the message it sends that Chris Beard. No, you're upset because Chris Beard can recruit. Because Chris Beard's going to be a problem on the recruiting trail for you.
I just like the notion that somehow the SEC is like, you know what? Now we have a moral compass. Since when? Like just this moment? Literally this second? Because that would be the only time in which what you are saying is actually believable. I'm a little surprised Chris Beard got, a Power 5 job that quick. When the charges get dropped, this is exactly how we've seen professional sports and collegiate sports handle these things before. It is not surprising in even the smallest way that somebody will go after him. Next up on What's Trending, Team USA fell last night to 1-1 in pool play after their loss to Mexico. They'll take on Canada tonight. They need a certain run differential thing. This is the same issue that, obviously they can win and still go there because they've only played 2 games versus the 4. But they'll start running into a run differential issue down the road if they are to fall in 2-2. So it's going to be very important that they win the next 2. They got Canada tonight. Brady Singer actually struggled last night for Team USA. Gave a 4 run out of the bullpen last night because he gave up 4 runs one time.
It's a World Baseball Classic game. It's one. It's all right. It'll be okay.
He's a little intense to be worried about a World Baseball Classic game after one outing from Brady Singer.
Hey, that's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Keeping an eye on the NFL tampering window. We'll certainly let you know if anything notable happens. We're talking a little bit college. Well, Rook will point this out. Former Raiders quarterback Jared Stidham signing a 2-year, $10 million with the Broncos. $5 million guaranteed, $4 million in upside. So Russell Wilson, obviously the quarterback in Denver, but his backup will be Jared Stidham.
Who's the better starter?
Is Russell Wilson's seat getting a little warmer?
It's getting a little warm. It also actually tells us, though, as far as the Raiders, if there was a chance of them sticking with Stidham while drafting somebody, that's out the window. There's reports today that Jimmy Garoppolo is a target of the Raiders. It doesn't take them out of drafting somebody, Anthony Richardson or a Will Levis type. But there, for me and Rapport, Jared Stidham. Going to stay in the AFC West as a backup with the Denver Broncos. Let's talk some college basketball, though. You kind of highlighted the schedule for the rest of the week for all 3 local schools. And it does suck that none of them are going to play in Kansas City. And I think it stinks for Power and Light, some of the business owners in Kansas City, because now you're hoping that you get some fan bases that can travel. Right, this is the problem that every other city has. We've just been spoiled that you've had, in the past, KU play at Sprint Center, now T-Mobile Center, and the tie-in there, we see what it's like for the Big 12 tournament. But it's unfortunate. Like, if you're looking at possible teams that can make their way down to Sprint Center or T-Mobile Center in Kansas City for the Sweet 16 Elite Eight, like, you're looking at Kling's Iowa Hawkeyes and some of these other. No problem with fans coming down if it was one of the schools that actually advanced to the Sweet 16. But the story nationally, even, Cody, has been about the seeding. And the number 1 overall seed, in particular, the seeding that there isn't a KU or Missouri or K-State, and Kansas City in particular, KU, ending out west. And if they advance, if they're fortunate enough to get out of the first weekend, which will not be an easy task given the potential options, they would play in Las Vegas. They would not play in Kansas City. And this is the reasoning Chris Reynolds of the Selection Committee gave why Houston is in the Midwest instead of the Kansas Jayhawks.
Well, when you look at Houston, combined 15-2 in the quad 1 and 2, compared to Kansas 21-7 in the quad 1 and 2. And Houston, they were competitive in all their games that they lost, except for today. And we understand today they were out their best player. And so for that reason, we kept Houston at number 2.
Look, if you want to have Houston, and they obviously did, in the Midwest region, then you can give me some legitimate reasons. My problem is I don't feel like the reasons the committee gave yesterday during the selection show were valid to me. Houston's a hell of a basketball team.
You mean to tell me the NCAA has a hard time explaining their reasoning?
Nobody's saying Houston's not great. Houston's fantastic. They're going to be in the Big 12. They're going to already join the best conference. It's going to be awesome for the Big 12 to have Houston. Kelvin Sampson's done a great job. Houston lost in their conference title game. Obviously, Kansas got boat raced by Texas on Saturday in their conference title game. But if you're going to just go one by one of the reasoning that we just heard from this Chris Reynolds individual, he referenced an injury for Houston Cougars and Sasser, who's a hell of a player.
He's better than the injury miss for Kansas. If you're getting ready to compare the two.
No, but Cody, let me just finish for a second. If you're going to go one by one through everything he said, it doesn't add up. Is all I'm saying. Like Sasser, yeah, of course, is a more impactful player. At the same time, Kevin McCullough is in the running for National Defensive Player of the Year. He wasn't available. So if you're going to claim injury, then at least mention the injury that KU had. If you're going to mention that, well, we factored in Bill Self's health in a positive or negative way. Coach Self wasn't there for 2 games. 3, they won 2 of them, I should say. Quarterfinal, semifinal. And the news came out that they expect Bill Self to coach this coming week in the NCAA tournament. The other part is, don't tell me quad 1 wins and all that strength of schedule stuff matters, because it obviously doesn't.
Well, it matters some. They're still number 1 seed.
Houston is the 100th strength of schedule team. Kansas is much higher than that. Kansas lapped the field in quad 1 wins. So, again, if you want to put Houston and Kansas City, that's fine. I just don't think we're just making up rules on the fly. That's all.
I don't think it's as simple as that. I don't think they've ever done a good job actually explaining what it is, because they leave it intentionally vague. They like to do it that way because they like to leave some ambiguity for why they choose the things they choose. And I think I'll tell you right now, it is really hard to ever side with a Kansas fan in this, because, and this is not hyperbole, Kansas fans are guilty of consistently got screwed in the draft, or got screwed in the bracket.
Yeah, but you could acknowledge, right? Let's just flip the roles here for a second as well. If Houston was in the Big 12 with the exact same resume, and KU was the AAC, okay, and I was on this show, and we were on the other side of it, do you not think that people would be complaining on the other side? Like, do you not think, or you wouldn't be saying, that's kind of crazy that they actually got it, and they can't believe that they didn't get it.
I think that this comes down to, so one,
you wouldn't be complaining that Houston got you at that scenario. You wouldn't say Houston was getting screwed.
No, I don't.
No, okay.
No, I don't think either team got screwed. Kansas has been the 1 seed like 3 times the last 7 years. Hard for me to think they got screwed this time. They lost 7 games. That's a lot for a number 1 overall seed. That's way more than normal number 1 overall. And it's like, hey, they got a lot of quad 1 wins. Well, okay, they play in the toughest conference. But so that makes sense. But that's way more losses than normal. That's why all those quad 1 wins is of how difficult the Big 12 is. I think that they just didn't value the Big 12 the same way we did. Not at all. Not that they didn't care about it at all. Just that they didn't because everyone beat each other up. So it is kind of hard to quantify. Sometimes when you have what is the best basketball conference, you run into this. Do we think that they're great because we already had a few of these teams be great and some of them beat them? Are they all a little bit less good than we thought because they were all playing each other and everybody was beating everybody, and Kansas could lose to 20 to TCU, but TCU could lose to somebody else by 20 during that same stretch inside the conference. So they probably dinged it a little bit. And when you're going across the board, they decided to ban quad 1 and quad 2 together. I don't know why they decided this year to be like quad 1 and quad 2 are the same thing, and because we're looking for a number that justifies our argument. The Bill Self thing I don't understand. I don't feel like that should factor into decision-making at all. That would be frustrating to me if I were a Kansas fan. I don't think that'd be the one I'd want to hear. But also, like, pointing out that somebody's missing their best player in a single game means, did you go through every single game that a team might have lost this year by double digits to see if they were missing a player? Because if you were going to do it for every game, then you shouldn't quantify it for the one. That's bonkers.
If this Chris Reynolds individual on the selection committee didn't have some of the comments he had, I honestly probably wouldn't have been as upset about it. It just, the reasoning didn't make any sense to me. We had talked last week that if KU would have lost to West Virginia in the quarterfinal, everybody would have expected, like, yeah, you blew your opportunity to be the number 1 overall seed. You have nothing to complain about. They lost in their conference title game, and I understand it was an ugly performance, to say the least. Texas, twice in a week period, beat them up really good. KU beat them in the Fieldhouse earlier, and then the last 2 weeks they played in Austin and in Kansas City. Texas beat them. But I want to point out, for those that are saying, well, you can't lose to Texas that way and complain. Texas is a 2 seed in the tournament, guys. And some people believe maybe Texas should have been a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. So it's not like, let's not act like KU got blown out, though, by a 9 seed or a 7 seed or a 10 seed in the NCAA tournament. They got beat up by a team that the same committee says is a number 2 seed, man.
No, I understand, but they lost to them twice and got blown out.
If they would have lost by 1, like,
by the way,
honestly,
if you're making an argument, if Houston had gone the entire season and played every game close, right, like they did, and Kansas only got blown out once, I think you'd make an argument. They got blown out 3 times this year. And their 7 losses, they got their ass kicked.
To who, Cody?
3 times, to a 6 seed and a 2 seed.
A 2 seed and a 6 seed. A 2 seed and a 6 seed. Temple, who's not anywhere near the NIT, the NCAA, the CBI, whatever other letters you want to throw together, they beat Houston. So like, we can play, what I'm saying is we can play this game, Cody.
That's like every other Kansas loss.
We can play this game.
The Temple one goes for, what's Kansas's worst loss in the schedule?
Not anywhere near Temple at home.
Hold on. I'm not arguing if it's worse than that. I'm arguing what is the worst loss they had in the season from where they ended up in the NCAA tournament seeding perspective.
By Iowa State.
Alabama lost by 30 to Oklahoma, Cody. Like, we can play this game with every team in the country if we're going to pick one particular. That's my point. Is like,
but it's not 1, it's 3. They got their ass kicked 3 times.
By NCAA
one
tournament
time
teams.
They got beat 3
by
times.
NCAA tournament teams that are not 12 seeds, for crying out loud. 2 seed twice. 2 of those are from 2 seeds. The number 2 seed in the tournament.
You know, at some point, though, guys, at some point, you just gotta stop whining. You just gotta stop complaining. And go out there and
Nick
play the
doesn't
team.
even believe what he's saying.
Yeah, you do,
now.
though. You do. You just got to stop. You got to go out there and play the game, because I saw Kansas get dog walked by Texas twice in the last week, and you can't do that. You can't do that. You got to learn how to close out a season. Whatever happened to that?
You're talking about that 30-point loss for Alabama. I was like, I just wonder where that team was to, and it was to a 4-seeded UConn. So, I mean,
no, Alabama lost to Oklahoma State or Oklahoma.
Did they?
Alabama in the SEC Challenge, or Big 12 SEC Challenge. Alabama got boat raced by Oklahoma.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that one. Okay. They lost another time by a large margin, but it was against the number 4 seed.
It didn't hurt them.
Oh, they're still the 1 seed, but they also played in one of the more difficult conferences in their defense, and they had 3 all their losses.
My issue really isn't with Alabama. It's just if we're going to pinpoint these blowout things, I'm saying everybody has it on all these other number 1 seeds have it.
Has 4 losses instead of 7. They also played a very difficult conference who put in more teams actually than the Big 12 into the NCAA tournament. Probably because they have more teams in their conference, but they put in 8 teams, not 7.
I'm just saying,
and all 4 of their losses are against ranked, top-seeded, except for Oklahoma. It's like, so, like, I understand the notion, like, but it's.
You're making it seem like they're the only people complaining. I mean, I see on the text line, and I obviously knew this would happen because it's always, people enjoy when something goes against KU. I get it. That's the name of the game. The same way the NFL teams will enjoy when the Chiefs fail ever because they're the best. I get it. KU just won a national championship last year. But let's not, if you're a K-State fan listening, let's not act like I didn't see some of you bitching and moaning that you're stuck with Kentucky in your second game of the tournament, which is not a great draw for you in particular, some of you had said. So everybody does this. Everybody thinks they get screwed. This is not a unique thing. So don't try to go on your high horse and act as if your program never bitches and moans about anything.
But my program doesn't.
Well, where's your program?
Yeah, don't you?
Casey's never complained about.
Don't you think if Kansas would have just not gotten shelled by Texas one of those 2 times in the last week, we wouldn't even be having this conversation?
Well, that's what I'm asking. Is even if they would have lost by 1,
just
on
close
Saturday.
the season out. Honestly, and I am a Kansas fan who understands the advanced metrics. Like, I understand.
He's a donor. His family has courtside seats.
Listen. I am one of the preeminent Kansas fans.
What the hell does that even mean?
I'm just one of the top tier fans.
Ranking?
Yes. Well, and there's
preeminent
not a listen.
Kansas.
No,
KUFanRankings.com. Nick is at the top.
Don't be ridiculous, guys. There's not a ranking, but if there were, I would be near the top. Right?
Okay.
And as one of those fans, I'm sitting here telling you got to close the season out. Win one of those games against Texas. Win one, or don't get absolutely shelled in both of them. And we're not having this conversation. Yes, I still think they should have been the number 1 in the Midwest seed. But you had the chance to make it not even a conversation for the committee, and you couldn't do it. So it's tough for me to feel all that bad for you as a team.
We'll get back into some more college football or college basketball in just a little bit. Some NFL news, though, in the last couple of minutes. Adam Schefter reporting former Eagles defensive tackle Javon Hargrave reaching an agreement on a 4-year, $80 million deal, $40 million guaranteed with the San Francisco 49ers.
Do they need more help on the defensive line?
They're just loading up on that. So the Eagles, one of the team, of course, that was in the Super Bowl against Kansas City, and there's some talk they're going to lose multiple guys from that championship or NFC championship team. And Javon Hargrave, one of them, reportedly going to sign. That's a Drew Rosenhaus client. That guy just cashing in every offseason.
Actually makes me feel a little bit better about the Hargrave's a little older than Chris Jones because he's 30, but he had 11 sacks last year and he only got $20 million per.
They have Nick Bosa.
Yeah, their defensive line is absolutely
Nick
bonkers.
Bosa and Hargrave now with and Fred Warner still out there in San Francisco, by the way.
Are they planning on trading one of these players, or are they just planning on this being their path to victory? We have no idea what Trey Lance will be, and we don't know when Brock Purdy will be back, but let's just have the world's greatest defensive line.
Also, as things heating up in the NFL with the legal tampering window open up as of an hour and 21 minutes ago, Mike McGlinchey, according to Diana Rossini, expected to sign with the Denver Broncos. Earlier, there were some reports that maybe they were nearing a deal with the Chicago Bears. The Broncos finding a right tackle. And so the Bears going to miss out on McGlinchey. Again, I think this is one that has some trickle-down effect to Kansas City. Andrew Wiley contract down the road, and then also Orlando Brown Jr. and where he could potentially land.
I guess I'm a little bit surprised the Broncos' entire plan is just protect Russell Wilson because there's a lot of stats that prove he's part of the problem. He's part of the issue for why he gets sacked. It's not that they've just always had a bad defensive line, but instead he has been part of the issue because they signed Powers too, right? So they've now added two very expensive offensive linemen in the last hour to Denver. Their whole plan of, I guess, just protect Russell Wilson if you can't do anything else or be really good at running the ball or whatever their middle plan is because they're reportedly shopping some of the wide receivers. So they might go the Chiefs because that was kind of the Chiefs' plan this year. They had less talent wide receiver than the year before, but a better offensive line over the last couple of years, which obviously helped boost that. The Hargrave one is probably the more interesting one because, again, I'm trying to see what every defensive lineman's going to get paid because I feel like at the end we got to decide, do we all think that there's a middle number between what all these other defensive tackles make and what Aaron Donald makes for Chris Jones? Like, will he set a true middle, $28, $29 million a year? Because otherwise he's got to be $20 to $23 million a year to not be in the middle. And 31, 32, or whatever it is that Aaron Donald makes is like the high standard. Is there like a 26, 27? Is there like a middle number here to be had?
Clearly not, certainly on the Chris Jones side, but even with the Chiefs side, a lot of times we always talk about, hey, mate, you got to get a deal done before the market changes, right? Get in front of these guys.
But it's not. The market isn't changing. It's staying flat.
The Chiefs, they project, they know what the market is for the most part. They clearly have done a good job at that, Cody. They are waiting till after the draft to get the extension done with Chris Jones. They obviously weren't worried about that happening, and it's so far it's true based on the numbers that are coming in. There's not this, oh man, if we don't sign him before Payne or Hargrave, we're gonna have to pay X amount of money more. Not necessarily. Let's keep an eye on the per year average and what's actually guaranteed. Not as we all know, it's not just the overarching number that gets reported. It is what's guaranteed and what's in there on a per year basis and how many years. Like we hear over 84 years, $84 million. $40 million is guaranteed at signing. We'll see what the actual year by year breakdown is for Hargrave. But I just can't get over the 49. Yeah, I can't get over the 49. I mean, Hargrave, Nick
Kinlaw,
Bosa,
right? Didn't they just
Fred Warner, Armstead. I mean, it's an insane defensive front. They lost their defensive coordinator. We know that, but still, that's an insane defensive front there for the 49ers, who did lose the right tackle today, as expected, to, according to Diana Orsini, Mike McGlinchey to the Denver Broncos.
That deal might tell us a little bit about Orlando Brown Jr.'s contract, but only a little. He's a right tackle. Everyone knows he's a right tackle, but he was expected to have a lot of, because, the Bears were in heavy competition for him as well, so we don't know which way that will swing. Because, again, I kind of assume that Orlando Brown Jr. and Juju Smith-Schuster would be amongst some of these big names that are coming through right now, but we haven't seen it yet either.
Are you surprised? I know it's an hour and 25 minutes, but The Bears haven't signed anybody yet. I guess they signed.
They just made their big move over the weekend. They traded the number 1 overall pick.
They did, but that's more. I mean, that's part of the equation. Now, I think they signed maybe a linebacker earlier today, right when it opened up from
Edmonds. Who's now lost 2-star.
Not Edmonds. Edwards, from Philadelphia. But they haven't made their big splash yet. But it is very, very early, and I think, as Pete Prisco points out, the Bears will be one to watch for two different. You're talking about like Jawan Taylor and then Orlando Brown Jr. potentially as suitors for the void that they have on that offensive line. All right, we're just getting started still with the NFL legal tampering window. Let's talk more about Chris Jones. You highlighted kind of the number. He also sent out a tweet that had people talking. I don't think it's that big of a deal because we're confident what's going to happen in a couple months. We'll do that, and we'll also get to the random question of the day.
Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio, brought by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Talking about going to see the boss. I was going to go tell Alex on them, but we talked to the boss about our parking lot situation. It's not good. She knew it. We all knew it. That's why we're getting it fixed by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. We're not just telling you to go. I'm not just telling you to go use their services. We're trusting them right here at our own company because it's a reflection of your business. When people pull in, they see that it's falling apart or in disrepair, they know that you're not maybe taking care of them the same way because you're ignoring projects at your own place, whether it be paving or commercial paving services or those concrete services or just like a full parking lot or just maintenance stuff. They can take care of that for you at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Give them a call, 816-484-3338, or go to GANNasphalt.com to see some of those results yourself. They've got before and after pictures so you see exactly the difference they can make for your business now. And if you're looking for a career, they're also looking to hire all positions. Project manager, dump truck drivers, operators, and crew members, all starting pay up to $30 an hour based on experience with paid time off and insurance, among just some of the benefits package. Go to GANNasphalt.com or give them a call, 484-3338 to learn more.
BetMGM is offering small fans a chance at winning big, really, really big. The BetMGM March Matchups $10 million Perfect Bracket Challenge is free to play and fun to dream about, and it's only at the king of sportsbooks. Pick a perfect bracket, and you'll be the legend that takes home the $10 million grand prize. Fall a little short, the player with the most correct picks for the entire tournament wins a guaranteed top prize of $100,000. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly and offer resources to help make appropriate choices. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions and complete details. Must be 21 years of age or older to enter. Kansas only. New and existing customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-585-8282. 800-585-8282. That's 800-585-8282.
Catch the basketball tournament pizza special only at Old Shawnee Pizza. Get a medium one-topping pizza with a small order of breadsticks for only $16.99. Call or go to ShawneePizza.com today. Only at Old Shawnee Pizza. 2 locations, Shawnee and Lenexa.
Hey guys, it's Nick. I'm kickstarting a healthier lifestyle this year by starting my day with 213 Flashpoint. It boosts my energy, increases my metabolism, and curbs my cravings. It's made a massive difference for me. I really think it can help you too. Find it at any of the 8 supplement superstores locations in the KC metro area.
Get in zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil Valvoline Advanced can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for only $37.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com. Get in zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket, just like our customer, Michelle.
As an entrepreneur, every day is different. My phone bill from Cricket, on the other hand, always stays the same. Without surprises, hidden fees, or annual contracts, I can work worry-free.
That's Michelle, everybody, doing business like a boss. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Real customer, paid for testimonial. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Remember when you were told bigger is better? Well, that's just simply not the case. Do you want a big bill? No. A big burden? No. What about a big bulky tank water heater taking up space in your basement? No, I didn't think so. What you do want is to make all of those things smaller. Tankless water heaters are more efficient and take up less space than outdated bulky tanks, with cutting-edge features that improve safety, simplify processes, and increase capabilities. Once you go Navien, you'll never go back. Learn more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Guys, fellas, men, are you Roman ready for the weekend? Right now, generic Viagra, aka Sildenafil, is just $4 per dose at Roman. Just complete a free online visit with a U.S. licensed healthcare professional. If medication is appropriate, Roman sends what you need in discreet packaging with free 2-day shipping. Generic Viagra from $4 at Roman. Go to ro.co/Viagra. Do it today and get 20% off your entire first order. That's ro.co/Viagra.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Under Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric. Technicians you can trust with your house keys.
At Anthony, we get the job done right the first time. That's why you know us as the technicians you can trust with your house keys. It's the final month to receive a furnace for free when you purchase a new AC. Schedule online today at AnthonyPHCE.com.
Coverage of opening day is brought to you by the KCKPD, accepting applications for new and experienced law enforcement officers. KCKPD.org for more information. Equal opportunity employer.
Money is being handed out left and right in the NFL. As Ross Tucker, friend of the show, pointed out, it's amazing how these huge deals are just coming together in 90 minutes. Like, they never talk until the legal tampering window opens up.
Good for them.
The Broncos' dollar amount is in for their right tackle signing, Mike McGlinchey, Ian Rappaport. 5 years, $87.5 million, $50 million guaranteed for a right tackle. That is great money for him. That's a lot of money on a right tackle.
For double M.
That is a lot of money for a right tackle in the NFL.
More importantly, Nick, we have a number for what they might need to pay Tommy Townsend. You tell me what you think of this. The Falcons have signed their punter to a new 3-year deal, $8.65 million, $4.325 guaranteed. Are you willing to give Tommy Townsend that contract?
The Chiefs tendered him already.
You know what?
though.
I think some of the Chiefs players have already sounded off on how much Tommy Townsend should get.
Hey, great catch. More. Hey, more. Let's go.
More. That's how much money Tommy Townsend should get. More.
There was an update on that, like over the weekend, though, for Tommy Townsend. The Chiefs officially they tendered him $2.6 million salary if he remains with the Chiefs, but they tendered him as the lowest level of tender. So
explain
basically,
that. What does that mean?
The team the Chiefs will have the right to match any offer he gets from another team, but they would not get any compensation if he were to leave.
So that is okay. So between the options that they had. Mm-hmm. Does that one not lend itself more towards the idea that they would be okay with him signing somewhere else?
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's the fact that they're not even. It was not a higher tender where somebody would have to give up draft pick compensation. They wouldn't. Somebody just has to send an offer that the Chiefs aren't willing to match, and they could get them for just that contract.
What do we do to fix this?
What do we do to fix it?
Yeah.
Just match the contract.
No, we as a show. Like, what do we do to make sure that the Chiefs match it?
Fundraising campaign?
Use your sources, Nick. Get Tommy Townsend in studio.
Show fund?
Get him on the show.
Show fund's dangerously low to being in the red, so we got to be careful there. Hey, are we going to bet on golf this year?
Well, I mean, we've got some time.
Masters is coming up.
We might have to chip in first. We don't have much to.
A couple weeks away, man.
How much did we wager on the last one? Was it $100? What did we let Nick wager?
100 or 200, maybe. I think
Was
he
it
spread it. I think he
at
spread it
200?
around.
I think it was more than that. I think it was like 150.
Maybe it was a 150, 175 range.
Okay. Well, we don't have that in the show fund, so we're either need to sell some more T-shirts or.
How is this show fund? Ever since it's been depleted, we have not infused it with any more cash.
We haven't done anything that adds money.
Is it time for another investment?
I think so. Do you guys want to bartend again?
We need Series B. We already had Series A funding. We need Series B.
Yeah, Series B. Why don't we go bartend again?
I think there's a bank in California we can go to. No,
Don't get political.
Silicon Valley Bank. I think
so political.
We can't. That would have been our option. That bank would have been our option, and now we can't.
Can we bartend again at Social?
That's not. Or
a different location?
That's not our call.
Well, Nick,
That's what I'm saying.
Nick
That's
can get
what I'm saying.
in.
It's not our
Do you want to
call.
see if we can bartend again, Nick? Do you guys want to go there sometime next few weeks?
Whenever we need money. Hey, can we bartend for a couple
It's like having any other part-time job. It's like when you need the money, you agree to go. We could come up with a new shot for Tommy Townsend.
Let's just bartend at a concession stand at the Craft and Draft at Kauffman Stadium, and we get it. We'll work with the Royals. Maybe I'm sure the Royals will gladly just give us money.
Oh, we could call it a T-squared shot.
T-squared?
T-squared.
Is it just two tequila and what? What's the other T?
Tequila and triple sec.
I mean, that's a start to a margarita.
That's
so
pretty much just a margarita.
But it's T-squared in this case.
Yeah.
We could be short some ingredient,
Somebody suggested we should work part-time at a dispensary to make some money.
Also open to that.
I don't think they let people come willy-nilly as they do
with marijuana.
Bars. Yeah.
A little bit different, maybe.
Okay, well, reach out, Nick. Let's see if we can get T-squared. Night at the bar, T-squared shots. Help us, fix the camera equipment or bet on the Masters, whatever.
We'll get to the random question of the day coming up in about 7 minutes or so. We were mentioning the Jason Hargrave contract with the 49ers. Massive deal, loading up even more on that defensive line. I didn't know the 49ers even needed to do that, but they continue to load up and build on it, what is already a strength out there. And then you have Chris Jones, who the expectation is that's not a deal that's going to happen until after the draft. But he sent out a tweet that had people talking over the weekend. And it was weird because I get why the tweet is notable. Understand it. But at the same time, I'm not that concerned, nor was I prior to the tweet, about him getting a deal done. So he sent out a tweet that said, I'm a Chief for life. He was responding to a fan. I'm a Chief for life. I will not play for another franchise. Now, look, I'll push back on the notion that he's going to finish his career here 100%. Like, his next deal is not going to push him to age 36 or something, Cody. So he would need another deal after that to actually be in position to retire as a Chief unless he wanted to hang it up early. But the notion of him leaving before he gets another deal, yeah, I'm really not concerned. He's got 1 year left on this one. He's going to get a new deal. I feel very confident in that happening. And the way the free agent market has gone in the very early going, it's not as if something disastrous has happened in the market where you're like, wow, he's way overpriced now. We're not going to be able to come together on this. I think they're waiting till after the draft because they're not worried about it either.
I think there's part of that. And now that we're seeing, as we've pointed out, these other defensive tackle contracts not completely reset the market, so keeping the numbers where they are. But I actually do think it's important for what he sent out this tweet for one reason. His agent would hate it. Like you could say, most of the time when players say stuff like this a lot, Gold, but they don't say, I am never playing for another team. They say things like, I hope I never play for another team. And and I know that sounds very similar.
Bury me a Royal.
But there is a distinct difference in those. One sounds hopeful. I hope I never play for another team. It's the only I want to play for. Those are the things you say versus I'm never playing for another team. I believe Chris Jones. I think he actually wants to be for life. I think he's dedicated to that. And we'll see that reflected a little bit in these numbers, where I don't think he's going up to the Aaron Donald money. The reports are he's not asking for that. And to be honest with you, he could. If you went out in the free agency market right now, if Javon Hargrave, who got his, second sack season of his career with 11 on what was one of the most talented defensive lines in all the NFL last year, 30 years old, can get $20 million a year. If Cameron Payne can get, $22.5 million a year, he can get 30. He can ask for that number. He can get 31 or 32. He can get himself up to that Aaron Donald number. But I think he actually does want to stay here. Now, I'm with you. I don't think we can try to pretend like we've got some guess for what his age 32 contract looks like.
I'm not worried about this one.
Because he got another contract after this one.
And not worried about this one. And no, I don't know. Nobody should be panicking if we're sitting here a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, and if they don't have an extension. I think that's part of the plan whatsoever. And this happens every Monday through Tuesday before the league year opens up on Wednesday. People start to panic if the Chiefs aren't making moves immediately. And then guess what? The plan has worked out pretty damn well over the last couple of years. The one that I always go back to is the offseason where the Chiefs were trying to sign Trent Williams. And Trent Williams ended up staying in San Francisco. And everybody's panicking. Like, what are you going to – there's no left tackles. There's no left tackles. And then, a couple weeks later, they traded for Atlanta Brown Jr. So I'll just always remind people of that. If, let's say, nothing happens today, although it's still so early, that's what we're making jokes about it, because it may not be till 3 o'clock today that all of a sudden we get news on Juju Smith-Schuster. That still is pretty quick in the grand scheme of things.
No, but the Juju one, what are we at? Like, there's a 50-50 shot he ends up in Kansas City?
I think it's better than that. I really do. I think it's a better chance. And right now, we haven't seen any wide receivers yet signed, so we don't have a feel of where the market's at. We've seen a bunch of offensive linemen and some defensive linemen signed half of the tampering. We haven't seen any wide receiver deals to get a gauge of the market. So unless all of a sudden a wide receiver, like let's say Allen Lazard signed right now, and we're like, whoa, that number is awfully high, then I would get concerned. You know what I mean?
It's like the Chris Jones. If Hargrave got $30 million, you'd be like, that's a problem.
But we're not there on the defensive lineman, and we haven't had any evidence yet to look at that from a wide receiver market. I still think it's greater than 50% that Juju's back.
I still think there's a good opportunity for that, but this is, as we've said, those are the moves. It's like those
Brown and Juju Wednesday before it opens up. Those are the two guys that I think we draw on one way or the other.
Yeah, I think so, and I would think that because of just the market they'll have outside of Kansas City, whether they've signed with anyone or not, or signing with Kansas City, you'll get a sense that Kansas City's out, if that makes sense. That whatever the price they're coming in at is not going to be high enough to actually retain these players. I want the first wide receiver to sign.
Because it might be Juju.
I know, but
it might be the first.
I want some indication of the market. Like if McCartman signed right now, then at least I know what wide receivers are kind of getting for the level of production or upside or anything that they have.
Deshaun Watson restructured his contract, or they converted some money today to free up, I think it was $30-something million there in Cleveland.
Yeah, they added a void year.
Yeah, they tried to free up some money, and there's reports that that's one of the potential destinations for McCole Hardman. Spot track projections, we love them because they're usually pretty damn good. 4 for 40, yeah. Was that? I mean, if he gets 4 for 40, that individual contract with McCole, I don't know if has a huge sway on Juju individually, just because of the the length of the contract and the type of player. Like I'm more interested. Let's say Allen Lazard signed first, or Jacoby Meyer signed first. That to me is more in
baseline.
Yeah. An indicator on potentially where Juju goes. But I just think if you believe the Jeremy Fowler reporting from a week ago, he suggested the Chiefs were going to try to get something done with Juju. They want to bring him back, get it done before free agency opens up, which would be right now before Wednesday at noon.
Do you think the Browns will win a playoff game with Deshaun Watson?
At some point, yes. One game.
You sure? He's out. So this year, he's only at $19 million.
Yeah.
The following 3 years, his cap hit is $62 million each year. How the hell do you win with that? $62 million cap number?
A single playoff game, I'll say yes. Ravens are trending in the wrong direction, so that division, if they don't have Lamar Jackson, that becomes a little bit different. Matter
anything on that either. I mean, they were a 7-win team last year, so it wouldn't take much for them to get to the.
I mean, Deshaun has to play a hell of a lot better than he did on the back end. I'm chalking some of that up to rust. We'll get our answer pretty quick. And this year, freeing up some money, they got to go get some weapons. Now, if they think McCole Hardman is the solution to that offense, we'll see.
I can be honest. don't think 2.5 years off of football and ever be the same again. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right. It's rust, and he's just got to knock it off, and then by next year he'll be.
Well, I don't
what
think
he
he's
was
going to be.
before.
I don't think he's going to be top 5 again, which is what he was trending towards and was. I still think he can be a top 10 quarterback in this league. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm off, but I don't know.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Nick. Go to Southland Tow Service text line 913-586-7610. All right, so my question is related to the ongoing Ja Morant storyline and something that we have talked about on this show, which is taking a trip to the strip club.
Wait, what's the latest on Ja Morant?
Well, they released a video or a still shot of him in the club over the weekend, and there was like there was like
that could have been you, man.
Billions of dollars.
Could have been you.
Look like so much
Did he do something wrong?
It was $50,000, and
is that how much it was?
It was $50,000, and there were ones all over the floor.
He's good for it.
Here's my concern.
They were already there. I mean, it's not he's good for it. The money was present.
Is it acceptable practice?
Oh boy.
For a strip club to release security camera footage from their establishment? Because I don't think that should be allowed.
Wait, so they released
things. Ja Morant was there and obviously dropped $50,000. And then they sold the photo to TMZ, the strip club did.
Don't like that.
How much do you think they got for it? Do we have any? I mean, what's your guess? 100,000? How much is that photo worth to TMZ?
75 to 100, yeah.
So is that worth?
That's not worth it. He spent $50,000 in your establishment.
Okay,
what's wrong with the strip club?
Who all is getting that $50,000? It's not like
the owner. Oh, the $50,000.
You think the owner comes in and throws it all into a trash bag and goes home? Ja Morant strip clubs work.
I don't know what the split is. 50-50?
No.
Like, here's the trade-off. You sell that video, Ja Morant likely never comes back to your strip club. That was clearly a trade-off they were comfortable making.
I don't like that strip clubs are allowed to sell security camera
What do you
footage
plan
to
on doing?
TMZ.
What do you plan on doing in the strip club, Cody?
It's a private. I mean, it's a private establishment. I'm pretty sure they have Is it frowned upon? Sure, but there's nothing.
I feel like a strip club should be one of the few places on earth that you should expect some level of privacy.
Again, you've never been to one.
No, but I would think that's the kind of place you should expect some privacy.
What do you plan on doing there?
Nothing. I don't even want to established, but I don't like that there could just be, you guys could buy some photo of me just sitting at a table.
Thanks for the idea. Thanks for the idea. Now when we get you to finally
They're
go to
allowed
one,
to just sell this stuff to people?
I bet you if we went to a strip club in Kansas City, because we're going to go because you haven't been to one and you owe us from a bet, I bet you at that point we can tell the owner, hey, we just need a still shot of Cody getting a lap dance, please.
I do a lap dance.
In exchange, we will mention you guys that you were the one we went to. Mm-hmm.
No, that's payola. That's against the law. You're describing something that is against the law.
No,
you're trying to break the law
because we will mention it on our social media. It's a little bit different.
Well, okay, so I wouldn't even consider.
And we're not getting anything for free, Cody. It's not payola.
I mean,
don't know
you being up on the stage,
we're asking for a photo.
And honestly, what I'll probably do, I'll probably just have my cell phone out anyway. I'll get a higher resolution photo than a security camera. Come on.
No.
Well,
I assume that they don't allow to take photos.
Also, don't you think
there's
there's safety reasons why there's cameras in the strip club, Cody?
Yeah. Fine, but if there's a safety concern, fine. He was just a businessman doing a business transaction. And they sold.
Businessman?
That's all you, Cody. That's all you will be as well, man. You'll just be a businessman and doing a transaction.
I don't care what business it is. If I go into your business, you should not be selling videos of me just hanging out in your establishment.
Cody walks in a three-piece suit. Hello. Hello, sir.
It's not great.
I am a businessman here to do business activities.
It's not great, but also I don't think you should be that surprised that a strip club had a chance to make some money because a huge celebrity that's the center of this big story right now because he flashed a gun at said strip club, that they sold the photo. I don't think we should be that surprised.
If it were any other NBA player, I'm sure many of which go to strip clubs very often, the strip club in question is not selling that photo. He happened to do something very, very public at a strip club in the last week. So there is, like if Lou Williams went back to Magic City the week after he got busted leaving the NBA bubble, there's a chance maybe a strip club would have released video footage.
James Harden goes multiple times a week, man.
Yeah, they don't release his photo.
Because he's a good strip club patron. He's a good patron.
Matter of fact, I refuse to go to any strip club in this city that releases footage of their patrons.
Hey, here's another thing. Maybe did you consider that maybe after seeing that Ja Morant had a gun in a strip club, maybe other strip clubs are like, yeah, you know what? We don't want him here. Yeah, your money's great. You know what's not great? You bringing a weapon into the strip club doesn't really make people feel comfortable.
It does not.
With you around.
By the way, reports from Mike Garafolo, the Raiders are closing in on a deal with quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo.
There you go.
Jimmy G on his way to Vegas, according to him.
Start Jimmy G and then draft somebody, right? Or are the Raiders going to think that, we can just ride with that for 2 years and then not draft a quarterback?
Idiots if they do that.
They have to draft a quarterback still.
Either this year or next year. You can't just ride out
we get to
Jimmy
talk
G's
about
career
Jimmy
for this.
G twice a year now.
Aren't you guys excited? Even more Jimmy G talk on this show.
He is the third best quarterback in the division.
They had the third best quarterback in the division last year, and where did that get them?
Well, yeah, but there's a mile between fourth and second, so he can take up any matter of space there.
They're not better with Jimmy G. I don't know that they're definitively worse, depending on the year Derek Carr had.
Oh, okay.
I guess he's got comfort
Jimmy
with
G,
Josh
not
McDaniels.
better, not worse.
Yeah, he wants to be.
I'm not sure they're not worse.
You're right, though. I think Jimmy G does he probably does feel good about working with Josh McDaniels.
More postseason success. Jimmy G has more postseason success than Derek Carr.
And here we are. We're still waiting on Aaron Rodgers. 2 hours into the legal tampering window. He just wants all this stuff to get done with first, guys, and then he wants us to all be. He wants us all to be focused on him even more later on today when all these other moves are done, and then Aaron Rodgers will announce he's going to the Jets, right?
Probably.
I guess I'm in the minority here. I don't think Aaron Rodgers really cares. I don't think he's posturing to make sure everyone's talking. Everyone's going to talk about him no matter what.
No, I think he enjoys it.
I think he just lives in his own world. I think he lives in his own little bubble, and he never thinks about how those things impact literally.
The only way I'll applaud him in this whole thing is
anybody else who does that?
No, that's coming to mind.
The only way I'll applaud Aaron Rodgers is if all of a sudden, after all this talk, if it does get to later today or tomorrow or whatever, and he's like, you know what? I'm just retiring. Screw everybody. I'm out. I'm done.
Fine.
That'd be fun, too.
I could see that happening. I could also see him waiting another couple weeks.
Weeks?
Yeah, why not?
You're not waiting.
Yeah, why not?
Can't wait weeks. If I'm the Jets, I got to move on. I have to move on.
Yeah, we're not interested in trading for you.
The problem is now Jimmy G signed.
Yeah, what do you move on to at this point? Derek Carr and Jimmy G are both taken. Carson
They
Wentz?
have the 13th overall pick in the draft. They would have to move in that direction.
Yeah, they'd have to move up.
Trade up. Yeah. Probably what you do.
What do you think Jimmy G gets? 25?
I'm guessing
30 a year?
Yeah, I'm guessing 30 with incentives can bump him up to 35 or something.
Is
this going right? I mean, he's a starting quarterback in the league.
Are we excited?
Terrible.
Are we all excited here?
Excited about
Jimmy G being in the division?
I think it's good for this show.
I think it's great for this show, and I think it's great for the Chiefs.
It's good. It's really good for the show.
Good for the Chiefs.
Jimmy G in Las Vegas is probably good for Jimmy G as well. And
you do well there.
The Raiders, is a 1 year deal, do we know? Or is it a multi-year deal?
I don't know, but I'll tell you this. Right now, you know what the Raiders are? Exactly what they were last year. Something between a 6 and 10 win team.
Yeah, that's accurate, I would say.
Yeah, they're at best the 6th seed in the NFL playoffs next year, which means they mean absolutely nothing to Kansas City because at best they'd see them in Arrowhead in a playoff game in the second round or at the, Arrowhead Invitational for the AFC title game. It just doesn't.
But that's just it. It's like could I see them finishing second in the AFC West? Sure, but they could have done it last year. And they didn't because they bottomed out.
The defense and the rest of the roster is terrible. There you go. Here's the details on the deal, by the way, from Adam Schefter. The Raiders are giving Jimmy Garoppolo a 3-year, $67.5 million deal, $34 million guaranteed. That's the important number.
So that's way lower than what we were talking about.
You say 3 years, $67.5, like, oh, yeah, it's $34 million guaranteed.
It's only $22 million a year. The true middle class quarterback.
My guess is, what do you guys think? Out of the 34 that's guaranteed, isn't 95% of that in year one, if not all in year one?
Probably.
Again, if you're smart, that is how you're structured for yourself.
And then just leave it open so you can draft a quarterback. Because if the Raiders don't draft a quarterback, oh my goodness. Because to Nick's point, let's say they win 7 or 8 games. You don't draft a quarterback this year. The next year you're picking what, 15th? You're picking 13th?
Can you get Will Levis at 13?
13,
no.
I think you can get them anywhere
10,
between 9 and 1 and 9.
Because Stroud's going to go 1 now, according to all the
He's
odds
a betting
makers,
favorite
right?
now. Yeah.
So we still think that there's 2 other quarterbacks going before Will Levis?
I think so. You'll have Stroud, Bryce Young,
and Anthony
Richardson, and then Will Levis.
That's what makes me wonder if you can get to 13. But
that's
teams are always so dead. 13's kind of low.
By the way, I don't know. I don't think we mentioned it earlier. Deshaun Watson restructuring his contract.
Yeah. Yep.
Now there will be more restructuring for him in the future, but the Browns, who cleared up a ton of cap space, $36 million this year by restructuring their deal. Are they signaling that they think that they're going to be competitive in 2023?
Okay, just Nick,
we had this entire
this
conversation.
exact conversation.
I mean, like
10 minutes ago.
The whole thing.
Everything you mentioned, the restructure. Cody was talking to me about can they get a win under Deshaun Watson in the playoffs?
On this show,
where have you been, man?
Today.
On this show,
like 10 minutes ago.
I was sending an email about probably about 10 minutes ago. So it was on this. It was
on this show. Yep.
Yeah. I said I didn't think that Deshaun Watson could ever be the same again. Gold said he could still be a top 10 quarterback. I talked about how he's $50 million a year.
How long?
Oh,
did
here we
this
go.
conversation go?
We do have some actual
Thank God.
Chiefs news.
Thank
I'll save.
How convenient.
I'll save Nick. This is from Ari Mirvov or whatever. They have 646,000 followers on Twitter.
Hold on, make sure it's a real one.
Yeah, 646. I'm looking at it. 646,000 Twitter followers. Works for the 33rd team. He says, source: former Chiefs right tackle Andrew Wiley plans to sign a 3-year, $24 million deal with the Washington Commanders, reuniting him with offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. Of course, 59 games in 5 years for the Chiefs, and that would mean the Chiefs are looking for a right tackle. And we'll find out on the Orlando Brown Jr. front on the left tackle. They could have a left tackle and right tackle vacancy. But that is from Ari Mirov. He's the only guy reporting that yet, but it's not just some random Twitter account. He does have 646,000 followers and works for the 33rd team. But that's a nice deal for Andrew Wiley.
That is a good deal. $8 million
He's only
a
making
year.
$2 million before.
His career earnings are like $8 million. He's going to make that, or $5 million. He's going to make that in 3 years. Good for Andrew Wiley. And honestly, makes sense from, like you always make the signing of at least one guy who played for you as the let's show people how we do business here. And if you're going to get a stable right tackle, it makes a lot of sense to go for Andrew Wiley. But yeah, now you're going to be a little more nervous about the Orlando Brown Jr. thing, because if all of a sudden he were to sign with somebody else here over the next couple of hours, then you don't have a right tackle and you don't have a left tackle. And the best right tackle on the market has already signed a pretty lucrative deal himself with $50 million guaranteed to go to the Broncos. So
would you
run into other problems there?
I mean, we were wondering what the dollar amount would be for Andrew Wiley. 3 for 24?
I would have
that seemed very
contract.
Doable, right? Like that seemed like that'd be very doable for the Chiefs, unless they think Cody in-house, they've got, I hate bringing it. I told you I don't count on anything from Lucas Niang or Kennard.
Or
Prince.
But I think a lot of this goes to the thing that Nick and I were talking about. It's like, if you told me that was the deal, 3 for 24, I'd rather give that than the mega deal to Orlando Brown Jr. because while it doesn't solve my long-term right tackle problems, it is so much less risky. He's done a really nice job in Kansas City. And $8 million a year for a stable right tackle works in your system feels like a really good discount. But I'm happy for Andrew Wiley. He definitely deserved a payday.
Yeah, we never got a chance to rip packs together. Really disappointing. Really disappointing. We never got that chance. We got to talk ripping packs, but we never actually rip packs. It's just never going to happen now. But you're right. When you compare it also, and I'm not saying he's Mike McGlinchey, okay? I'm not saying Andrew Wiley's out there. How much McGlinchey got, who is the top 5 right tackle. Andrew Wiley's not. I get that. But you just see the discrepancy. You see the discrepancy in dollar amount, and what I think, yes, is a gap in play, but Andrew Wiley's more than capable. That's a really nice deal for the Commanders, and yeah, the Chiefs are going to need a new right tackle one way or the other. And you're right. Like, does this impact at all what you're willing to do for Orlando Brown Jr.? My guess, the Chiefs aren't surprised by this number for Andrew Wiley, so I would say no. We'll get a quick break in. We'll come back. We'll continue to talk about that Andrew Wiley is signing with the Washington Commanders as the NFL's tampering window is officially open.
You're listening to Cody and Gold.
He's so good, and everyone knows it.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Coverage of opening day is brought to you by the KCKPD, accepting applications for new and experienced law enforcement officers. KCKPD.org for more information. Equal opportunity employer.
Hello, Madame Dupree. I'm here for my fortune telling.
Come, gaze into my crystal ball. I see financial stability.
Nice.
If you switch to T-Mobile, because you can get their price lock guarantee, so they won't raise your rate for talk, text, or data ever.
Wow, ever? Verizon and AT&T don't have that.
And I see a free Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus and no trade-in required.
No trade-in? Hey, wait a sec. Do you also work at T-Mobile?
Well...
Get the new Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus at T-Mobile, free on our Max plan when you switch. No trade-in required. Plus, you get our price lock guarantee, so we won't raise your rate for talk, text, or data ever.
With eligible port-in, $800 via 24 monthly bill credits and $200 virtual prepaid card rebate, plus tax for well-qualified buyers. Contact us before canceling service to continue remaining bill credits or credits. Stop and balance on required finance agreement is due. Register prepaid card code within 30 days. Allow 8 weeks. Price lock exclusions like taxes, fees, select promos, and third-party services apply. Details at T-Mobile.com.
I'm Brad. I've been with Overhead Door Company of Kansas City for almost 20 years. What we see a lot of in the wintertime is customers sliding into their doors because of icy conditions in their driveway. So hit doors, broken springs, doors stuck to the ground due to ice, bottom rubber ripped off, things like that.
Cold weather wins every time, but we'll get you prepared. Overhead Door Company of Kansas City since 1927. OverheadDoorKC.com.
Hey everybody, this is Andrew Filipponi here, bringing you the parlay of the day, brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. We've got a couple of very compelling games to bet on in the NBA tonight. The Mavs are hosting the Grizzlies, who are going to continue to be without the services of Ja Morant. Dallas is in a four-way battle with the Clippers, Warriors, and T-Wolves to avoid the play-in tournament. Meanwhile, Memphis has been awful away from home this year. They've won only 12 road games. Late-night bettors should take the Warriors over the Suns. We know Kevin Durant's going to miss another 2 to 3 weeks, so go with the Mavs and Warriors. That's it for the parlay of the day. Brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app today and make every moment more with America's #1 sportsbook.
21 plus in President, Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-324-0231. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-324-0231 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-324-0231 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-324-0231.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter sends candidates who are a great match for your job. You can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smart way.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exists to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-585-8282. 800-585-8282. That's 800-585-8282.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios. You're listening to the official broadcast partner of the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. 610 Sports Radio, KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, and Odyssey Station.
All right, 1 o'clock hour. It's Cody and Gold here on a Monday. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Nick Short with you. 2 hours into the legal tampering window in the NFL. Free agency doesn't technically begin till Wednesday, but plenty of moves in the NFL. We'll get you caught up on the ones around the league, but there's a few things that could directly impact Kansas City. We mentioned right before the break that Ari Mirov reporting that former, now, Chiefs right tackle Andrew Wiley plans to sign a 3-year, $24 million deal with the Washington Commanders. He's going to join Eric Bieniemy's offense there in D.C., and you and I had mentioned we would have been fine with that contract in Kansas City, but we know now, okay, void at right tackle, number one. So in-house options, it was in 2021 before an injury where you had Lucas Niang as your right tackle. That was the plan at one point. It's just...
Wiley didn't win. Remember, we went over this whole thing. We had a big fight about whether he won the job. Like, he didn't win anything. The guy who had the job got hurt, and then Andrew Wiley was the right tackle.
And he took over in 2021 and then never got rid of the job, though. Niang wasn't able to bounce back from the patellar tendon or whatever it was injury. So Niang and Kennard are seemingly the in-house options at right tackle. Then you have, of course, left tackle, where right now Orlando Brown Jr. is pending free. You know, got to be a free agent. You can negotiate with anybody. Aaron Wilson, at Aaron Wilson _NFL, just sent out a tweet during the break. Said Texans Pro Bowl tackle Laramie Tunsil has been discussed in potential trade scenarios with the Chiefs, according to league sources. He went fluid situation on whether it happens. However, Chiefs potentially retaining Orlando Brown Jr. has not been ruled out by the Chiefs, per a source. And we knew that last part, that it's been clear that they haven't fully ruled it out. Laramie was like a dream scenario. November. It actually involved them tagging Orlando Brown Jr., trading him somewhere, getting compensation, and then already having a trade in place for Tunsil. Now we know the tag and trade thing on the table. Yeah, you're going to have to give up hefty compensation through the draft, Cody. You have to give him a deal. The difference is, what is our big issue with Orlando Brown Jr.? It's that he wants to be paid like the number 1, 2, or 3 left tackle, and he's not. Laramie Tunsil's going to want to be paid like the number 1, number 2, number 3 left tackle, but he is. That's the difference here.
To me, like the way this lays out, I don't know, and maybe this probably depends on how highly you think of Orlando Brown Jr. I'd rather go with the pick and pay Tunsil. And you're saying, because like there's a balance, right? Because we're saying one guy wants to be paid like a top tackle and is, one guy wants to be paid like a top and isn't, but the other guy cost you draft pick compensation and the money.
Sure.
But if I'm going to spend the money, the reason why I can afford this luxury more than ever is because I have hit, if you're Brett Veach, you have hit on an incredible rate of draft picks lately, which means to me, let's say it's a first. You can afford it. You can afford the first and to pay Laramie Tunsil. And I know it'd be like, well, you just spent a first on Orlando Brown Jr. I'm like, well, you got your value out of that. showed up. He became on one of the better offensive lines in the NFL, and he won a Super Bowl. I don't care if every 3 years I got to give up a first-round pick to get a better left tackle to win a Super Bowl. I don't care. I don't feel like they lost the Orlando Brown Jr. deal, even if they have to give up another first-round pick in order to bring in Laramie Tunsil. To me, in the end, what the Chiefs actually want is to not worry about who the hell their left tackle is moving forward, especially because a guy like Andrew Wiley just signed, and paying Laramie Tunsil is actually worth it. He's worth the check he'll get. That to me.
Let me play the other side for a second, because I'm with you. We mentioned this scenario months ago. I absolutely would be interested in Laramie Tunsil, knowing, yes, that you would still have to give him a massive payday as well. But with Mahomes in his prime, where he's at, with the strength of the interior of the offensive line, do you feel you actually need to go and have what is considered the number one, number two, number three left tackle, and therefore also pay him? Or can you, let's be honest, Orlando Brown Jr. was probably the 10th best tackle in football, and they had him on an $18 million on a franchise tag last year. The problem is, I don't know who that number 10 left tackle is right now that's not going to cost you a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like, other than Orlando Brown Jr., who doesn't exist because he wants to be paid like a top 5.
If you're going to pay a free agent top 3 left tackle money, they'll probably be somewhere between like the 8th and 10th best
and that's
left
the
tackle.
issue. And so then then your other plan is, okay, if you're saying you're not willing to trade for Tunsil and give him the contract, and you're also not willing to just sign Orlando Brown Jr. and give him a contract somewhere between what he wants and what the Chiefs want, which would still make him a top 5 left tackle either way, then your only option is to say you want the Chiefs to go draft one at pick 31 or more, realistically, guys, package picks then to move up. Or you can take the known commodity and pay it and sit and leave it alone for 5 years.
Again,
and go ahead and have maybe a little bit of a revolving door at right tackle, piecemeal that together, which, by the way, I want to remind, Wiley arrived, they were kind of, after the Mitchell Schwartz days, like, they were kind of just like Andrew Wiley, when they brought him in, we didn't think would be a starting right tackle on a Super Bowl team. He played the entire season on a Super Bowl champion team.
He was a fill-in.
He was at the time, yeah.
He wasn't supposed to be.
And Andy Reid and Andy Heck get a lot of credit. They did a very good job, even prior when they drafted Creed and Trey Smith. They've done a really good job about finding some of these vets, get the most out of them.
And no offense, if top guard money is $21 million a year, which is what a guard got today, in an extension, $21 million a year. And you're telling me I got to pay $26 for a top-end left tackle? Fine. There are 2 positions the Chiefs have done better than most teams at drafting in the NFL. We've talked about corner. That is one that they've done better than anyone in the NFL. The other one is guard. They have consistently been able to find functional guards in Andy Reid's offense time and time again. Just consistently, no problems. They find all the time. So lock up left tackle. That's a much harder one to find anyway. You have to trade up and go get your Tristan Wirfs, and then you still have to, Gold, be right. Like, you still have to actually get it correct. You're going to give up all that draft asset, be right, and then in 3 years, you're going to be paying that person a ton of money too. And I get it. It's 3 years down the road and all the stuff that comes with it. But top-end levels cost money. They cost assets. You would, because you would trade for Laramie Tunsil and then extend him, because they're not trading for him unless they're going to give him a bunch of money. You would get a comp pick back. I know that you wish you would have tagged and traded.
Up to a third, yeah.
Yeah, but all the protections for what Orlando Brown Jr. would be paid, you're getting a third.
It depends on what the Chiefs do with other signings too, right?
Sure, but his straight-up value would be a third. Like, I understand that because, like, right now they would be getting a 5th for Andrew Wiley. So anything else that they would be based on the formula, based on anything else that would go down situation, it would probably work itself out to be a third. Yeah, Gold maybe gets knocked down to a 4th, but it's probably a third. That's pretty good.
We actually do have one signing that is significant, and it involves the Kansas City Chiefs. We got our answer here. Former Jaguars offensive tackle, according to Adam Schefter, Jawan Taylor has reached an agreement on a 4-year, $80 million deal, 60 guaranteed with the Kansas City Chiefs. That from Adam Schefter. Jawan Taylor, a free agent, played with the Jacksonville Jaguars the last couple of seasons. There's your left tackle. There it is. There's our answer. Orlando Brown, there's your answer.
Well, I guess Orlando Brown Jr. is not coming back.
We can stop with the Orlando Jr. chatter. In Kansas City, he will be playing elsewhere.
But he played right tackle most of his career.
Do you think they can make? Do you think he can play left tackle? You think the Chiefs spending $80 million on a right tackle, Cody?
What position did Orlando Brown Jr. play before
right tackle? He got there? Guys, for that kind of money, isn't that left tackle money? That's not right tackle.
$20 million a year. I mean, a right tackle just got that in Mike McGlinchey, so I can't tell you that it's not right tackle money.
So then what are they doing on left tackle? Well, you know this. There's no way they're paying him that and Orlando Brown Jr.
I don't think so. My guess is that they would play, that they would draft
or they could still trade for Laramie.
Look, we have this.
I don't think they're spending that much money on both tackles, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, to me, this is their big tackle signing.
I need to see where he played last year. He spent his first 3 seasons in the NFL playing only right tackle.
Right. I mean, to Nick's point, though, like, that doesn't. The Chiefs have moved guys from right tackle to left tackle multiple times in their history. There's the Brandon Albert scenario. There's the Orlando Brown Jr. scenario as well.
Okay, well, I'm guessing Orlando Brown's gone. I did not see Jawaan Taylor signing in Kansas City.
He's 20. Jawaan Taylor's 25. Yeah, I mean,
one of my favorite tackles.
He's 25 years old, and you're right. He's been a right tackle, but that doesn't mean necessarily he can't move over to left tackle.
That'll be probably, in fairness, whenever they do this press conference on Wednesday or Thursday, one of the very first questions that gets asked.
Or
because they're giving him $60 million guaranteed. He's fully here, which means are they? Because Nick and I talk. I actually don't mind the strategy, and I think you and I talked about this. We argued that maybe it didn't work. I said because of the value between right tackle and left tackle has gotten a little bit closer in NFL circles. You can save $5, $6, $7, $8 million a year by having a high-priced right tackle, right, and signing there instead and going young at left. I know people don't like that, but if you have a long-term tackle spot settled, then you're good. I'm guessing that they're signing him as a right tackle. This is right tackle money. McGlinchey just got this. Now, maybe they got a different thing in mind and they think he can be a left tackle, but he has primarily and only been a right tackle, which so had Orlando Brown Jr. Until he played left tackle for an injured player in Baltimore. So they got at least a look at him at left tackle.
That's all. I mean, we got some clarity, and now multiple people are reporting the Jawaan Taylor signing for 4 years, $80 million. Clarity on one part of it. I mean, I guess theoretically when Mitchell Schwartz was playing for the Chiefs, you could argue they had a better right tackle than left tackle, right? And that's where they were invested. We just haven't seen the dollar amount invested in this way at right tackle.
Not for the Chiefs.
In Kansas City, I guess.
Ian Rappaport just tweeted.
There you go.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Nick. Ian Rappaport saying the Chiefs are moving on.
Ian Rappaport is reporting something.
Cody has the floor. Cody, go ahead. Take it from here.
The Chiefs, he is tweeting out, the Chiefs are indeed moving on from Orlando Brown Jr., which we kind of figured. The question is just more about where is Jawaan Taylor playing, but they were not going to pay Jawaan Taylor, Cody, this $80 million and then go give Orlando Brown Jr. a $100 million contract. Like,
I don't think you can afford that.
Let's say that. That also, our other scenario, talking about Tunzel, I mean, that kind of takes this out of that too. I don't believe they're going to commit that kind of money to both left and right tackle. I think this tells you there's either another veteran left tackle, a Donovan Smith type or otherwise, that they're going to look at, Cody, or they're going to draft a left tackle and say, we're going to be strong on the right side of the line. We feel good that Joe Thuney at left guard, not tackle, left guard can help out our young left tackle. But Jawaan Taylor is a huge part of this solution to how do you figure out your tackles now that, it's not a coincidence, guys, that 15 minutes after the news came that Andrew Wiley was signing with the Commanders, the news comes that the Chiefs are signing Jawaan Taylor on a 4-year, $80 million contract.
So with Jawaan Taylor, who by pretty much nobody would say that he has been a better left tackle or been a better tackle than Orlando Brown Jr. The fact that the Chiefs were willing to give him $20 million annually tells you a lot about how they view Orlando Brown Jr.
Because that's about the number they were willing to give him that wasn't paper money. Because there was a lot of funny money that made it look like it was way more than that, but they were really giving him about $20 million a year. And as you pointed out, with $60 million guaranteed, Nick, they're pretty much damn sure giving him that $20 million per year.
Well, that's them
it's
saying,
much closer to that
That's them
number.
saying we don't need. Because here's been the conversation or we've talked about this, but I feel like it's been lost a little bit. Is this idea that if they do X, Y, or Z, they're going to be worse at left tackle next year. The Chiefs are perfectly comfortable being worse at left tackle. They are not comfortable overpaying for a guy. At no point have the Chiefs ever said, no, we want the best left tackle in the game. Yes, they went after Trent Williams, but we're not going to pay Orlando Brown Jr. just because we think he has a chance of being better. No, we'll pay the best left tackle in the game, but aside from that, we're comfortable giving out a middle market deal.
They're paying him like he is one of the top. That's the same thing.
Yeah.
They're paying him like he's one of the top 3 left tackles in the NFL. Sure. Now the question will be, is he a top 3 right tackle in the NFL? Because that's what they're going to need in order to justify the expense here.
Yeah, we got to see
for Jawan Taylor.
Got to see the breakdown of the contract. Like we know the general numbers. Be interesting to see like what was there. How much is funny money, if you will, that's involved with the deal. Because again, it's being reported from Adam Schefter. The Chiefs have signed former Jags offensive tackle Jawan Taylor, 4 years, $80 million, $60 guaranteed. But just want to see more of a breakdown because as Matt Verderam points out, $20 million on average per year would be the most per year average for a right tackle in NFL history.
Is that not more than Mike McGlinchey just got?
I'm just quote tweeting Matt Verderam's tweet.
No, I was just trying to think. I thought his number was awfully close to that, I guess.
Wiley's gone. Brown's gone. They had money to spend on offensive tackle, one way or the other, whether it's going to be the left tackle or the right tackle. I think, Cody, you're probably, I would say you're probably right that he's going to stay at right tackle, but I would love to hear an answer of like, is that ever being considered for Jawan Taylor?
Well, and this follows the one thing that I don't know. I mean, is that something they'll kick around? Maybe. I like it better. I like trying him better at left tackle than anybody on the text line right now that's willing to tell me that Joe Thuney can play left tackle. I'm more willing to find out if a 25-year-old really solid right tackle could do that better than him. Certainly, I would see that. I'll say this. This follows, there is one super clear, very obvious trend, though, that we should always pay attention to when it comes to the Chiefs. They would always rather be younger. Orlando Brown Jr. wasn't even that old of a player, and they found a player 3 years younger than him at 25 years old. They could have gone a lot of different ways. They like young, ascending players way more than they'll take a risk on a 28-year-old who by year 5 might not work, unless your name is, same rule applies, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, or Chris Jones. That's it. Those are the only players that are void from this conversation.
Especially if you're not homegrown talent, too. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you're not someone that was not part of the organization from day one. Tyrann Mathieu found that out. We can go down, keep going down the list of players. Just some more numbers if you want to know more about Jawan Taylor, who the Chiefs reportedly are now signing. Third lowest pressure rate allowed last year, because that was a number that everybody keyed in on for Brown and Wiley. Third lowest pressure rate, 2.5% of the time among all tackles. All tackles last year. Only Tristan Wirfs and Lane Johnson were better.
Pretty good company.
Jawan Taylor only allowed 16 pressures and 5 sacks last year while protecting Trevor Lawrence there in Jacksonville.
And yeah, now multiple people, by the way, reporting for sure. It's like, it's not even just saying they're out on Orlando Brown. James Palmer's making it very clear. My understanding is that they are moving forward without Orlando Brown.
He does say Jawan Taylor expected to play left tackle for Kansas City. That's from James Palmer. That is from James Palmer's official Twitter account. At the end of that tweet, you mentioned the beginning, the end of the tweet, Jawan
They've done
Taylor
this a couple of times.
Expected to play. That dollar amount, I know you're saying it's in line for McGlinchey. Like, that's the weird thing is we're going to find out an answer.
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say it's either an expensive right tackle or a cheap left tackle. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yes, but if they're looking for ways to not have to spend the kind of money, they feel like Jawan Taylor switching to left tackle, let's say that's true, that he can give them very similar, if not better, play than Brown, then it's a steal and it's a genius decision.
It actually it would be, if it works, it is a big risk, but obviously the payoff is huge. Because you're right. If he plays left tackle for this team, and he plays it like the 7th or 8th best left tackle in the NFL, which is what we all agreed Orlando Brown played it as, right? It's like the 8th best left tackle in the NFL. Well, then you got him for $5, $6, $7 million cheaper than Orlando Brown Jr. It's just a big risk. I mean, can he play left tackle? I don't know. Because if he's the highest paid right tackle in the NFL, you're saying he's got to play like a top 1, 2 right tackle. If he's making $20 million a year, what do we need? Top 8? Like, we can live with top 8 left tackle in the NFL? We'd be fine? If this were, I guess that's the question, Nick, as you point out with Orlando Brown. If this was the Orlando Brown Jr. number, would you have been okay with it? $20 million a year. Over 4 years for $80 million. That's what? Half? It's not half, but 2/3 of the number that we were expecting at Orlando Brown Jr.? It's a risk. But, I mean, it would make a lot of sense. But he has never played. I mean, Sam Monson pointing out he didn't play left tackle in college. He's never played left tackle.
It just off of James Palmer's tweet right now, right? He's very well connected, but that's what we're basing he said Jawan Taylor expected to play left tackle for Kansas City. I'll be honest, I mean, we had the same reaction, Cody, right when the news came out, 10 minutes ago-ish? And I was like, oh, well, there's your left tackle. And then you dive deeper into it, and you're like, yeah, I didn't play left tackle, but they've done it with Brandon Albert. They've done it with other guys. in Chiefs history where they hadn't played left tackle before, and yet they were able to make it work. And you trust that your offensive line coach can get that figured out. To talk more about this, we go out to the 610 hotline. Welcome in our Chiefs insider, the editor-in-chief over at Arrowhead Pride. He is Pete Sweeney. Pete, just want to get your instant reaction to the news that Jawan Taylor signing a 4-year deal with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think it's a good move. To me, this coaching staff just showed over the past 2 years that they can turn a pretty good right tackle into a pretty good left tackle. And I think when tackles are young in this league, they're able to move over if they have to. It appears that this guy who played a lot of right tackle last year for the Jaguars will indeed move over and try to shore up that position. And look, the numbers are really good on the right side, and so it'll be up to Andy Heck, who is often mentioned by Andy Reid to get this done. But I mean, for a 17-game season to allow only 16 pressures and 5 sacks, where Orlando Brown was good the second half of the year and into the playoffs, but we had still been waiting for a complete season. So I think the Chiefs feel like they got a better tackle at that position for what'll probably be cheaper when it comes down to it when Brown eventually heads elsewhere.
But this really requires him to be, Pete, right? The 6th to 10th or 8th, whatever. It doesn't matter what the middle number is, but somewhere around there where we expected Orlando Brown Jr. to be in play-wise most games. Because if he's that, then he's definitely cheaper than Orlando Brown Jr. for the quality of play.
Yeah, and man, if you examine this and look at how old the player is, the fact that he is still in his mid-20s, I think plays into what has tended to be the Chiefs' MO here. And I think they found Orlando Brown, and they had hoped that it had worked. But as it turned out, I think because of the name and otherwise, Orlando Brown's going to cost more. And, you might have a situation where Taylor's going to end up playing better, and he's a year younger. And so the Chiefs are always trying to find these guys that are right before the age of 25 or right there on the nose of 25. And so you get a 4-year deal, and look, I mean, I'll take him to the 29-year-old season, which is exactly where the Chiefs always like to live.
Why do you think the Chiefs wanted a long-term answer so seriously? Because it could have given Wiley, right? Played him right tackle, 3 for 24, based on the numbers with the Commanders. Why do you think it is the Chiefs valued long-term answers there over seemingly a lot of other options?
Yeah, I just think you want the same 5 guys if you can help it, right? And so, I mean, how often have we said on these airwaves over the years, man, that interior is pretty solid with Tooney, your boy Creed Humphrey, and Trey Smith, and you're always wondering if they could get some long-term, all season long, solid solutions at the tackle positions. And I think they're trying to do that. I think Andrew Wiley was really good for the Chiefs, really solid. Was he ever going to be that top elite player? I mean, I don't think so. And so I think the Chiefs held back from wanting to give him a long-term deal, but he did end up getting paid, and we'll have a role with Eric Bieniemy, so that's good for him. But you start to sort of see the new picture for the Chiefs, and it looks like they're trying to solidify that offensive line with 5 really good guys and have them locked up for a long time.
Pete, how do you feel, a guy that we haven't talked a whole lot about, and a guy that I don't know if you really can count on, but Lucas Niang, a Kennard, for how they factor in now? Because, Jay Palmer's saying that Jawan Taylor is expected to play left tackle for Kansas City.
Yeah, and I think the idea there is you have a young player in Lucas Niang who's been waiting to get his opportunity and stay healthy. I think the Chiefs really, if you go back to 2 seasons ago, when Niang was healthy, they were preferring Niang over Wiley at right tackle. So I'd imagine the thought process right now is, okay, Niang was coming off an injury again. We saw he was on PUP for most of the year. But now he'll have a year off his feet. He should be healthy again, so give him an opportunity to win that position. And, look, we're at the very beginning here. If Taylor is indeed your left tackle, we'll be looking at a very early position battle for that right tackle position.
Pete, if you look at the age of the players, if you're not named Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, or Patrick Mahomes, will Brett Veach ever sign you over the age of, 28?
Not if you're on the outside. It seems like for that to qualify, A, you have to produce. B, it seems like you have to have some off the field part to you where maybe you're a leader in the locker room, and C, you got to be willing to work with the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is one of one, but I think we learned last year anyone else is tradable after they moved to Tyreek Hill, because it really, for a long time, felt like that was an untradeable player. So you look at Travis Kelce and what he means to the organization. That's a position where you see production into the mid-30s. But I think the big thing about Kelce is he's always willing to work with the Chiefs because he understands the value of playing with Patrick Mahomes. The news over the weekend, and look, Twitter's Twitter, but the fact that Chris Jones wants to be a Chief forever will help him, you would think, in a future situation of working with the Chiefs, of finding a way to come to a reasonable price for his elite play. Maybe that's a little bit less than it would be on the open market, but you're right. I think that's a good trend to note. The fact that if you're an outside player, you're typically not going to get a long-term deal from the Chiefs if you're over the age of 28, 29. And even if you're here and you mean a lot to the organization, like an Anthony Hitchens, like a Tyrann Mathieu, once you become that age, it's a tall order to ask this team, because they're constantly trying to keep this young core going. And look, that's where the business comes in of this thing. And I think fans have learned here to trust in Beach, and this is another example of that today, where they're moving on from Orlando Brown. Seems like a little bit of a risk to move right tackle over to left tackle, but they just did that with Brown, and guess what? It led to being in the Final Four 1 year and then winning a championship. And so I think it's a trust in Beach, trust in Andy Heck type of deal.
Pete, appreciate you calling in, man. We'll let you get back to work there over at Arrowhead Pride.
All right.
There you go. That's Pete Sweeney, the editor-in-chief at our Chiefs Insider, reacting to the breaking news that Kansas City Chiefs reportedly have signed former Jacksonville Jaguars offensive tackle Jawan Taylor to a 4-year, $80 million contract, including $60 million guaranteed. Again, this would become official with the league year on Wednesday. We'll continue to react to this, what it means more for right tackle. And yeah, more and more consensus now out there in terms of reporting that, no, they're going to do what they did with Orlando Brown Jr. Yes, he's been a right tackle his entire NFL career, but they're going to move him to left tackle. We'll react to that next.
Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
You pop on the radio. Yeah. You're a fanboy.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANN.
Gym's more perfect time for Hoops fans to take their shot at scoring big. Log in or sign up today and place a $50 wager on any team, doesn't matter, to win the college tournament. And if your team just makes the semifinals, you'll receive a $25 bonus bet to use on any sport. Just use bonus code CTAP, that's CTAPP, when you make your bet. So use that promo code CTAP, that's CTAPP. Hit the court and find out why nothing beats BetMGM's March matchups. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly and offer resources to help you make appropriate choices. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager, Kansas only. New and existing customers offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-24700 in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Braden's Hope for Childhood Cancer and Jersey Mike's have teamed up for a big month of giving. Every Monday night in March, when you grab a sub for dinner from Jersey Mike's in Overland Park, Olathe, or Lenexa, 15% of your purchase will help support childhood cancer research. That's 15% every Monday night from participating Jersey Mike's locations. On-site donations are welcome all month long. Follow Braden's Hope for Childhood Cancer on Facebook or go to bradenshope.org for details. This month, help bring hope to children fighting cancer with a sub from Jersey Mike's.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Do you remember how cold it got this winter? Well, it was a chilly one. And if you notice the cold air pouring through those old leaky windows, well, guess what? When it gets hot this summer, the exact opposite is going to happen. All of that cool air is going to escape through those leaky windows, and that hot air is going to come in. So I'm telling you right now to replace those old windows and keep your house cool this summer with the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs over at Window World. Their windows are one of 2 windows with a good housekeeping seal of approval, a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And right now, Window World is offering 18 months same as cash financing with approved credit. So pick up the phone right now and call this number for a free home estimate, 816-799-0820. and they can show you how they are simply the best for less. Remember this phone number, 816-799-0820, or check out the website, windowworld.com.
A championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. So for parts that fit, head to eBay Motors and look for the green check. Stay in the game with eBay Guaranteed Fit. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
How long does it take to tackle a home project? With Angie, you could cross it off your list before this ad is over. Just tell us what you need. Indoor or outdoor, repair or redesign. And we handle the rest, sending a top pro to get it done. You don't have to lift a finger, except to tap the screen or click the mouse. Plus, Angie is free to use. So bring us your next home project, and we'll bring it home. Download the app or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com to get started.
Do you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes? Good news. There's a new way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative. Call U.S. Tax Shield, A+ rated with the BBB. 800-391-5063 for your free consultation, and let U.S. Tax Shield protect you from the IRS.
Catch the basketball tournament pizza special only at Old Shawnee Pizza. A medium one-time pizza with a small order of breadsticks for only $16.99. Call or go to ShawneePizza.com today. Only at Old Shawnee Pizza. 2 locations, Shawnee and Lenexa.
At Shane Company, we have fine jewelry for every personality. With the largest selection of unique styles, it'll be easy to find something perfect for you.
Now you have in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code JOY at checkout. That's harrys.com, code JOY. Enjoy.
I switched to Boost Mobile and got a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Want to know the best part?
It was free?
Nope.
The fact that it's on America's largest 5G networks?
Nope. It's the ding.
Oh yeah, love the ding.
Right? It's all about the ding. It's the dingarooski, the dingarone, the ring-a-ding-ding.
Unleash your power to save with Boost. Get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone when you switch. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power.
And the ding.
Limited time offer. New customers only. Available on select networks. 5G not available everywhere. One device per line. Tax excluded. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Chiefs coverage on 610 Sports is brought to you by Park & Go. Book parkandgo.com.
Getting ready to go on vacation can be stressful. Lucky for us, there's Park & Go. Easy online reservation, free instant shuttles, luggage assistance, and all spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. The best deals in airport parking. Park & Go, family owned and operated.
Coverage of opening day is brought to you by the KCKPD, accepting applications for new and experienced law enforcement officers. KCKPD.org for more information. Equal opportunity employer.
Busy day in the NFL, and the Chiefs are on the board here in the legal tampering window. If you're just joining us, the news this afternoon, the Chiefs have found their answer, not at right tackle, but all reports indicate their future left tackle.
Who was a right tackle.
Who had played right tackle his entire NFL career to this point in time, but the Chiefs believe that his athleticism, among other things, is going to allow him to make a transition similar to what Orlando Brown Jr. was doing. That player, by the way, is Jawan Taylor, former Jacksonville Jaguar, just 25 years old. signing a 4-year, $80 million deal, according to Adam Schefter, including $60 million guaranteed. Drew Rosenhaus also represents him. By the way, if you're always wondering, I think people freaked out when they saw the Tyreek Hill podcast and the back and forth and the Rosenhaus and all that. Yeah, with these guys, it doesn't the relationships like stuff like that happens all the time. Like some people are concerned, like, does that hurt the relationship? No. By the way, the biggest free agent signing the Chiefs are going to make this offseason is a guy represented by Drew Rosenhaus right now. Juwan Taylor going to be the left tackle for Kansas City. We can run through some of the other moves today across the NFL in just a little bit because there have been plenty. But this is a bold, let's not kid, this is a bold
risky
move with some risk by the Chiefs. Now, I think Brett Veach gets the benefit of the doubt and the trust based off of his track record right now. Multiple rings, how they've been able to nail draft picks and also evaluate talent, period. And one thing we discussed last week, to this point, outside of maybe an Anthony Hitchens contract, if that's the worst one, they don't give out bad contracts to free agents. They have nailed them. And you can say some players perform better than others. Of course, duh.
Sure. We did this, remember, from 2018 we did it, and the worst, I don't remember who it is.
Anthony Hitchens. Anthony
Hitchens. Who was a 4-year starter for them.
So there's always risk, but they've done a very nice job. When they're handing out significant money, they've nailed those signings for the most part. It's why they weren't willing, clearly, to go to a certain dollar amount for Orlando Brown Jr., who's going to be playing left tackle for somebody else in the NFL this year.
So here, good stat from Zach Eisen, who writes for Air Report. But just that Juwan Taylor gave up 21 pressures on 775 pass block. That's a 2.7% pressure rate. Chiefs tackles were both over 6% last year. So really what we're going to ask ourselves is, we know the risk. Do you think the Chiefs' offensive line is better as currently constituted? Let's say it's kneeing it right. Let's just take the leap now. Let's assume that this is the offensive line. Juwan Taylor, who's never played left tackle, the same 3 interior offensive linemen, and Lucas Niang at right tackle. Do you think that they are the same, better, or worse in offensive line from last year? And until I see Juwan Taylor actually play left, I have to say worse, don't I? Until I watch a guy who didn't even play left tackle in college? No, look, I could just trust Brett Veach, trust their scouting ability, and assume that they will get 8th best left tackle play out of Juwan Taylor, similar to what they got out of Orlando Brown Jr., who was a right tackle. They switched to left tackle. I understand that they've had success doing this once, but, we've said this before. Having success once does not mean it's going to be successful again and all of those things. To me, it's like they're playing their own version of like what happened with baseball, where you're just valuing something different than anyone else, and you're saying, I'll take athleticism and they can play mediocre left tackle, and he's cheaper than Orlando Brown Jr. And younger.
I don't think we can downplay the fact that Joe Thuney is an all-pro left guard, and I thought this was important when Orlando Brown Jr. transitioned from right tackle to left tackle. When you have that kind of guard play next to a guy that's trying to learn still the position of left tackle, like, I think that goes a long way. I think it makes it easier to transition over to left tackle if I know to my right hip I've got Joe Thuney, who I know he's handling his business. He's one of the best guards in football. I do think that helps in this whole scenario, what they're going to try to do with Juwan Taylor. And yeah, it's definitely risky, but it's almost a scenario where we could be talking a month into the season, and we might be, what a brilliant move, because if he plays top 12-ish left tackle,
huge
right?
upside.
If he plays even top 12-ish left tackle, you're saving money. We haven't seen what Orlando Brown Jr. is going to get, but we all expect it to be a pretty hefty contract. If he's anywhere near what Orlando Brown Jr. was by the time you get to the end of next season, and you're saving money, and then we'll see, they obviously like Lucas Niang, but I can't count on him, but that's who they believe in. They can go and draft another right tackle if they need to. It changes how you view what they're going to do at pick 31 too. Like it allows you still to have... It allows you, you can still take an offensive tackle, no doubt, but it allows you some more flexibility now that you believe as an organization. You have fixed your, what are we going to do at left tackle, the contract getting bloated with Orlando Brown Jr. It's still a huge deal for Juwan Taylor. It's all of a sudden pushed in as a left tackle, and if you hit on that is a very team-friendly deal suddenly. Juwan Taylor, a guy that's played right tackle his whole career, like, he wasn't going to make that kind of money as a right tackle in the league. So for him, there's a huge benefit. He'll be 29 at the end of the contract. Like, this is a great deal for both sides. That's why they were able to get the deal done with Taylor. They're promising him a chance to play left tackle, and if he performs well after 29, we're gonna be talking about him maybe getting a huge deal as a left tackle, and we'll have similar conversations as we're having right now.
As a reminder, the deal that they had offered Orlando Brown Jr. last offseason, reportedly from Adam Schefter, was 6 years, $139 million. So And some of this was funny money. We talked
Definitely
a lot
was.
about that. There was really only 3 years of that deal guaranteed, or it was like 2 to 3 years of that deal guaranteed. And they were going to be careful. The first 5 years had been 90. So they've offered Jawan Taylor similar in the first 4 years of what they were offering Orlando Brown Jr. last season. So they value these two players equally. And I'm assuming that some of that is because they just moved a guy from right tackle to left tackle in Orlando Brown Jr.
And this guy's 25.
He's younger, but they do value them similar, and I actually think that that's somewhat important. But it's also, if it's only a 4-year deal, and which means you have less flexibility in the how long you play this thing out, I don't think draft-wise that tackle's out of question. Because the worst-case scenario in this would
right
seem...
tackle?
Well, either. Let's say you got a guy right tackle and you think he ends up being a better left tackle. I think you can
Yeah, but by the time, I guess in a perfect world, if all of a sudden you draft tackle and you're like, wow, this guy's better already than Taylor at left tackle. I mean, by the time,
in worst case scenario, you have an expensive right tackle.
Yeah.
Who played great last year and we know can play great at right tackle. So, I'm just saying there are...
It was always going to be
exit
unlikely.
strategies, and he's not talking like Orlando Brown Jr., where I want to be a left tackle. If for some reason, let's just say for some reason, you're right. There's risk, there's upside. We talked about all the good that can happen. If it goes bad, and he doesn't have tackle goal because he can't make that transition because he spent the last 7 years of his college and professional career playing a different position, as athletic as people say he is, having a slightly expensive right tackle is not the end of the world, and we know that he can play that position. So they've offered themselves outs if for some reason this doesn't work. They're paying them a little bit better than the top-end right tackle money.
I mean, I still prefer this path, though, because...
I prefer this to the Orlando Brown deal if you put the two on paper.
It's not even just the Orlando Brown Jr. deal, but I don't believe at pick 31 you were finding your starting left tackle next season. So...
Pretty unlikely. We talked about you having to move up.
Can you tell me that let's say they draft a tackle at 31, can you tell me that their rookie is starting at right tackle? Yeah, I can see a scenario where they start a right tackle. The one thing that we said, I think I asked Nick and you both last week, I said, what changed this go around compared to when they were looking at drafting a tackle a couple years ago and decided to trade for Brown? I said, they weren't willing to start a left tackle then. What has changed? And in fairness, you guys had great points. You responded. You said, Mahomes is even better than he was then. The rest of the offensive line is even better. All facts. They just showed us and proved us for a second time. They do not want a left tackle that's a rookie.
Nope.
Starting.
They want a veteran left tackle. That's very clear.
I think that's been proven twice now. The last time they tried for Trent Williams, they failed there, or they couldn't strike there, I should say. And then they looked at the tackle draft class, didn't like it, they traded for Brown. This go around, pick 31 again.
Same draft class were like,
they decided, let's go ahead with the guy. Yeah, he hasn't played left tackle, but he's played tackle in the National Football League.
And the reports that they had conversation about Tunsil, so they were clearly kicking around veteran left tackles.
They don't feel comfortable having a rookie left tackle. Do they have some comfort in a rookie right tackle? We'll find out. I would say right now, if you're just looking at the roster, the leader in the clubhouse to be the Chiefs right tackle, just because of pure numbers, is Lucas Niang.
He was, and Pete pointed it out, but it is absolutely worth mentioning now. He was winning the right tackle job. He was their choice for starting right tackle at the time that they were in training camp, and then Niang got hurt again. The problem with Niang is the same conversation we've had with Kadarius Toney. Sure, he's the leader in the clubhouse, Gold, but can he play? Can he stay healthy? Can he physically be on an NFL football field? Because I don't think you want to go 6 games with him and
which is why I think
5 with someone else, and you're going to want some sort of fallback plan at tackle.
I think there'll be what they'll call a true competition at right tackle. Like I think when we're up in St. Joe doing shows, it's going to be Niang, Cody getting first team reps, or if they do spend a high pick on a rookie. Let's say they spend that pick 31 on a right tackle, then it's going to be that rookie and Niang battling for the right tackle job. If they don't draft a tackle fairly high, but they will at some point in the draft, they're drafting a tackle. I mean, they just sure numbers, they will with 10 picks or whatever. Kennard will be the only other name to watch.
How much do you think Orlando Brown Jr. is going to get? Well, it's one less team who could have paid him, and I already told you that I felt like there was a small market for his service. Bears have to do something.
Well, the Bears have to be the favorite to land him now. McGlinchey, there was talks the Bears wanted. He ended up signing with the Broncos. Jawan Taylor, who is someone they were rumored to be looking at, he's off the market. He's in Kansas City. The market's getting thinner for Brown, but also the Bears haven't signed anybody yet. We know they have $75 million in cap space. So they're spending money at some point. They've signed a linebacker today. That's it.
A cheap one,
pretty cheap deal. To answer your question, I think Orlando Brown Jr. is going to get $22.5 million on average per year.
So, I mean, not way more than what they were willing to give.
But like real 22.5. Not the Chiefs offered technically $23.5 million last offseason. It was more like 18 or 19 if you dove deep into the numbers.
And look, I'm sure this number works out because it's $60 million guaranteed. It's not straight up 20. It's probably more like the same number, 18, 19, is they were just doing it. But, I know that there are false numbers in contracts and years you can get out earlier because we just saw this with a couple of other guys that we were talking about in the defensive line last week where they were given a 3-year contract and they were out after a year. So it's not like you can't do that. I'm just curious if there's still that 5 or 6-year deal left for Orlando Brown Jr. because as much as we've talked about him in Kansas City, how many other teams? Like we heard, you had mentioned, you heard that the Bears were interested in Jawan Taylor. We knew that the Jags were interested in bringing him back. We knew some of the teams, Mike McGlinchey. I had heard like 4 different teams who were interested in bringing in his services. Have you heard a single other team interested in Orlando Brown Jr. at left tackle yet? Like a rumor of a single team? You mentioned the Bears. Have you seen anyone else? I haven't. I don't know what his market is. I still feel like they took a chance. They found who the other one was, and they decided to move on with their life, which is fine. You don't have to, and you're not obligated to sign Orlando Brown Jr. because the deal they offered him last year, I think they were serious about. That's why they offered him a 6-year deal, but they didn't want to pay more than they just did.
Elsewhere in the NFL, though, there's certainly been plenty of movement. You mentioned a couple of the offensive linemen.
Ben Powers and Mike McGlinchey both went to Denver.
So Denver bolstering their offensive line with Sean Payton now in charge. There's some rumblings that the Broncos are shopping
any of their wide receivers.
Really any, yeah. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, all at least discussing there. We did see the big defensive signing today was Jason Hargrave. Massive deal to go to the 49ers. Now it's going to be Hargrave, Armstead, and Bosa on that defensive line out in San Francisco. Just massive.
And Kinlaw had a nice year.
And Kinlaw as well. I was trying to pull up. I lost track of the number on the deal because we were looking at that.
4
for 80 because it impacts potentially what we're talking about for Chris Jones. Although you and I both really aren't concerned that deal gets done eventually. The great news for Kansas City, the reason why there probably wasn't the urgency to get a Chris Jones deal done like today or something, Hargrave's number doesn't reset the market. Chris Jones, he is the top of the market. Him and Aaron Donald are the top of the market. It's pretty set in stone, I think. Yet Chris Jones tweeted out, of course, he wants to be a Chief for life. Doesn't hurt the conversation. I was never really worried about him not signing with the Chiefs this offseason for a new deal. I still think that's in play. But yeah, Javon Hargrave which is a massive deal out there in San Francisco.
Honestly, the AFC West has made more noise than anybody. Jimmy G is with the Raiders, reportedly, or is getting ready to sign with the Raiders. Then the Denver Broncos signed a bunch of money. The Chiefs just signed one of the biggest tackles available in the market. Oh, and, Austin Eckler requested to be traded away from the Chargers or to seek a trade. You know what it is? He hasn't requested to be traded. He requested to look for people who might want to trade for him.
And Russell Wilson was at some sort of award show with Ciara over the weekend. So
like the Oscars or a different one?
I don't think it was the Oscars. I don't know why he would be at the Oscars, but
he's rich and famous and can go. I don't know. I mean, what else?
Ciara was wearing quite the revealing outfit. So
she was at they were at an Oscar party last night.
Oh, not at the Oscars.
Ciara, this is the headline. Ciara basically naked on Vanity Fair Oscar Party 2023 red carpet. That's the headline. That is the actual headline. Here's the quote from the article. It says, Ciara left nothing to the imagination on the Vanity Fair Oscar Party red carpet Sunday night. The singer showed off all of her, quote, goodies in the sparkling look. That's what the article said.
Yeah, basically naked is a pretty good description of that outfit.
Hey, what a perfect way to end the show today.
That's right.
How would you describe it? Not how Vanity Fair would. How would you describe it?
Gold. As they use the
very
word
see-through.
The goodies were out. Yes, as they would say.
The goodies.
That's the
sounds
quote.
like something my grandmother would say.
I'm just saying that's what the article.
Put your goodies away, dear.
Vanity Fair, apparently written by 80-year-old